Saturday night, and it's all about to kick off now. Rugby semi-final Super League live on BBC Two. It's all on the line. Are you ready for a tussle with the muscle?
Good evening. We have reached the semi-final stage. Just remains in the grand final. Will it go to the 10-time champions St Helens or to the league leaders Hull KR, who are on the cusp of doing the treble? It's already been a season to remember for Hull KR.
Has even scored for Davis! He scored it! Hull KR have won the Challenge Cup!
That dramatic win secured the Robins' first major title in 40 years. They backed it up by winning the League Leaders' Shield, entering the playoffs as the highest-ranked team. Bolstered by reigning Man of Steel Mikey Lewis signing a new 5-year deal, Hull KR are now seeking a maiden Super League title. 10-time grand final winners St Helens have endured 2 disappointing years by their own high standards, but last week produced a moment of magic with their season on the line.
Saints have got numbers! Saints have got numbers! Here they go! Rugby to right! Has won it for St Helens!
That thrilling finish was just the tonic for under-pressure head coach Paul Helens. But they'll need to be at their very best to go toe-to-toe with Hull KR tonight. The first semi-final took place last night between Wigan and Leigh, and this fantastic team try, finished off by Bevan French on the stroke of half-time, was the key moment in the match. Leigh couldn't chase the Warriors down in the second half, so the defending champions are through to the final. It finished 18-6. We'll bring you full highlights at half-time. Well, Hull KR and St Helens face off tonight, but only one can make it to the showpiece final at Old Trafford next Saturday. Kick-off here at Craven Park is less than 15 minutes away. We will be joined very shortly by the Hull KR head coach Willie Peters, but also with us Kevin Brown and the Wakefield captain Mike McMeekin. And actually, let's just bring Willie Peters in. I can see him round the back. We don't want to keep him waiting around. Perfect timing, sir. Excellently done. Do you get used to big games like this? You've had a few of them now. Or are you still nervous and excited, just like you were for the first one?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. You're nervous, you're excited, but it's always a pleasure to be here. It's a privilege. So, you know, we don't underestimate that's for sure. But we've got a job to do, and I'm looking forward to seeing the players do that.
Let's just have a quick look at the team that you've got out tonight, and it feels with your team that it's so settled. People know what they're going to do, and particularly the spine. They know where they're going.
Yeah, we've had a sort of settled spine for a long period of time, which certainly helps. I think when you have an unsettled spine, it sort of unsettles everything else. So, you know, we've had majority, or our key players playing majority of the games, and that's why we're in the position we're in.
Willie, how have you used the week off? Have you used it to refresh the troops, or got some work into them?
Yeah, a little bit of both. We trained twice last week, and the rest of it was sort of days away from the club. I think it's important to get a balance, especially where we're at, but also to get some work in, because the last thing we want is them to go out and be not conditioned in terms of contact and all that sort of stuff. So you do a little bit, but you certainly pull back.
And are you happy with the week off, or would you have rather kept the momentum going?
No, we needed it. Yeah, there's no doubt in the world we needed it. We had a week off. It was the first week off about 6 or 7 weeks ago, which we needed, and then we needed this week off.
And the Saints squad obviously filled with star-studded players like yourselves. A lot of it in the middle. How big of a performance do you reckon your middle have to have tonight? Yeah,
I think that's where it's going to be won. You look at their team sheet, that's their strength. It always has been. We know that they're going to be physical, aggressive, but I back our team. Obviously, they're a great forward pack, but I always back ours.
How close was Mickey Mack to playing Willie? Was he close to throwing him in? Because I know in these games you'd want someone like Mickey with his aggression.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I know Mickey pretty well now, and I knew that this wasn't there. And he's not not going to say I'm not there. So I sort of had to help him with that. And unfortunately, because he's coming to the back end, we'll see how he goes for next week if we do get through. But today, you know, it's unfortunate for Mickey because he would have only just played a small amount of minutes, but we don't undervalue what he does in terms of training, dressing room, and then that start of game is so important. But Jez has been doing it all year, so looking forward to seeing him.
And just ahead of what's a huge week, maybe a couple of weeks for you, how big a deal to get the Mikey Lewis signing, he's staying put, your marquee player?
Yeah, it's huge. I said it last week, it's massive for the game over in the Super League. You know, with the extra teams in the NRL, we don't want to be losing our superstars, and you know, to get signed Junior December and Mikey Lewis and guys like that, Wellesby, you know, players staying in this competition, you know, it's great for the game over here.
And just finally, you talked about Mickey McIlroy and Jared Warrior-Hargreaves. Though they're in the final years of their career, what have they brought just in terms of experience for these big games, just being a part of the group?
Yeah, they've brought so much that people won't see. Like you said, it's experience. When they talk, people listen because they've been through situations. But a lot of our guys have now, which is good. But those guys have, you know, been 17, 18-year careers and on top of their game for so long. So, you know, we certainly value them.
William, thanks so much for joining us so close to kick-off. Go well. Well, let's turn our attentions to the opposition this evening, St Helens. Kevin, if you can take us through the St Helens team.
Yeah, definitely, Tanya. And they've still got the predicament of a couple of fullbacks today. They choose Tristan Saylor to start at fullback, even though he has got the number 6 on his back. There's a centre position missing today. Mark Percival's out, so Matt Whitley, the back rower, goes into the centre. And then the half-backs, you've got Johnny Lomax, the skipper, but he's alongside Jack Wellesby, who's growing into that role at standoff. But like Mike and Willie said, the game will be won and lost today in the pack. You've got Matty Lees, Matty Knowles and Alex Walmsley, 3 of the best big-hitting forwards in the competition. Able at the back with Darryl Clark, he'll be looking to scoot, and if Saints are going to win this game today, it'll be down to that pack.
Well, on the off chance that you haven't seen the extraordinary try that got St Helens through to this semi-final, take a look at this.
One last play in 2025 for Saints to save themselves. They trail by 2. It will come down to this last play of their season. Will they carry on? Will they be gone? Wellesby picks it up. Crofts upstream. Can they take advantage? Lomax gets it away. Out it goes towards Shane Wright. Wellesby bungles it back in field. Now it's into the hands of Saylor. Saylor to Robertson. Robertson still going. Will he put a kick in? He can't go down with the ball. Robertson throwing, ducking under tackles. Robertson tucks one in field. Saylor with the big pass out the back. Saints have got numbers. Saints have got numbers. Here they go. Wellesby to Wright. Shane Wright has won it for St Helens in the last play of the game. 2025. It's not over for Saints. And Saints on that last play, somehow we talked about White to West. Now it's all about Shane Wright, and the playoff journey continues.
Quite a moment, or what a moment there for Paul Wellens. He has been speaking to JJ Chalmers.
Paul, what a finish last week. We were all on the edges of our seat there. Tell me, what does it feel like? You know, we don't often get to see things like that, let alone orchestrate it.
Obviously, you know, at the time it's quite euphoric. You know, what a wonderful way to win the game, and it was just so pleasing for me to see the players believe in each other. You know, right to the very end, and get the rewards of that. You know, we've quickly moved on because we've got an important game tonight, but it was certainly a special moment.
No Mark Percival in the squad. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, well, in the back end of the game last week, he picked up a slight ligament injury in his knee, and you know, he's not been able to run all week, let alone play a game of rugby league. So, you know, we've gone with a fit and healthy squad, and should we be good enough to progress, Mark might be a chance next week.
Also, Jack Wells at 6 again. How do you think he's coping there?
I think he's doing a great job. It's a position he's played a lot of as a junior, both 6 and 1. You know, Tristan's acquitted himself great at the back, and we've built some combinations and some continuity over recent weeks, sticking with that. that spine.
How's the confidence, particularly with that finish last week? We might not have had the attack this year like you might have wanted, but boy, you showed it last week. How are you feeling this week?
Yeah, we're confident. We've built week on week, and we've had questions asked of us. We've been tested throughout the course of the year, but throughout those periods, we've learned lessons and learned a lot about ourselves, and we've approached that in the right way, and I think that strengthens us as a team, and hopefully that shows out on the field tonight.
Talking about those questions that are going to be asked of you, OKR, big attack, how are you going to neutralise that?
Big attack, big defence. They're a fantastic team, and I think they've been the benchmark team throughout the course of the year. Sit where they sit in the Super League ladder for a reason, and obviously on top of that the Challenge Cup success. So that's a clear indication to what they're about as a team, and we're under no illusions of the size of the challenge that we face tonight.
Brilliant, thanks for talking to us. Good luck today.
My pleasure, thank you.
Jack Welsby at number 6. We've talked before about how do you fit Tristan Saylor and Jack Welsby into the team. Well, the answer has been to move Welsby into the Hearts. How do you think he's faring there?
You look at what Paul Helens said there, it was about continuity, combinations, and they've been settled. So when you look at what Jack Welsby's been doing on the field, I think he's been really growing into the role of standoff. I like the way when he goes to the line and he kicks the ball. When he flows across the field, he's a player that he has a lot of variation about his game. So where we see his little differences now, instead of him having the last pass or the last kick, we see he's passing the ball to give people like Harry Robertson an opportunity. But it's stuff like this, Mike, when he's just running at defences and he's just a footballer. How hard is that to defend against as a middle?
Yeah, really hard. And attacking players sometimes at the back end of their stints, so there's getting a bit of fatigue in their legs. And as a middle, when you got someone like a world-class player like Jack Welsby coming at you, you're in a bit of a danger there. I do think he has been really good at that half-back recently, and his short-kicking game I think will be massive tonight.
As you said to Willie Peters, they've got a formidable pack, haven't they? Through the middle, St Helens are very strong.
Yeah, but as our OKR, you've got the likes of Hargreaves and Sue down the middle, so I think it's going to be really exciting down the middle, especially the first 10 minutes. I think it's going to be hammer and tongs straight away.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the flip side, the good with the ball, Saints, but probably the strength is defensively. When Saints have the ball, they're going to try and power through the middle with Morgan Knowles, with Matty Lees, with Alex Walmsley. They're as big and as aggressive as anyone. If they can dominate when they've not got the ball, they can do stuff like this. We've mentioned Saints attack over and over again this season, but when Saints are on and they get close to the line, they've got the firepower just to burst through the middle of the field with these big weapons they have. But I want to see them on the other side of the ball, Mike. You've faced it this year. What's it like when your Matty Lees, your Morgan Knowles, your Darryl Clark are coming racing at you when you've got the ball in your hand?
And that's what they do for 80 minutes. The likes of Morgan Knowles and Matty Lees, they do it for 80 minutes, and it makes that much of a difference as an attacking player as well. You've got that inside pressure, and you're being forced to play the ball early, and I think tonight they're going to be doing that all night to Mikey Lewis, I think.
We talked about Mikey Lewis with Willie Peters, how important it is that he signed a big deal here. He is the reigning man of steel, he's nominated again, but how are you seeing him develop as a player? Because he's still a young man.
Well, very similar to Jack Welsby. He's got every trick in the book, but what he's got now is he can control the side. I think his kicking game, things like this is where he's matured. He steps back into the 40-metre line to kick a 40-20. Mikey Lewis has got all the X factor, but now he's got a patience approach. But this is why Mikey Lewis is one of the best players in the world. When he gets given a chance, he has the vision, but he also has the execution, and he's got a running game that frightens every and all the best defences. Saints are one of the best defences in the competition, but they'll be under threat today from this man, Mikey Lewis. And everyone in the British game, including us three today, we're all here watching him entertain us, because when he puts his ears back and he puts the foot down, Mike, that must be one hell of a thing to defend against.
Yeah, absolutely. It's similar, like you said, to Jack Welsby. He's coming down the middle and he's going to attack players, especially coming towards the back end of their stints. And I think the likes of Tyrone May as well brings out the best in him. I think Tyrone May gets to organise things, and then Mikey Lewis can do what we've seen on that video there and just run his show.
You faced OKR a few weeks ago and beat them very, very well. Willie Peters there saying they needed that week off. Did you sense a bit of fatigue in facing them, or were you just almost unplayable on the day?
Yeah, possibly a bit of both. I think we played like probably one of the best games that we've played this year. But yeah, you could tell a bit of fatigue in the legs. They've not had much rotation in the squad because obviously they've not been hindered with many injuries. But that could also have a negative effect for them. But like Willie Peters has mentioned there, they've had a week off, and hope they may see the effects of it today.
Where do you think this is going to be won and lost? Is it going to be down the middle?
I think that's where the game will be. The platform will be built. I think, Saints will see Hull KR as gettable. I think the last 5 weeks, Willie Peters was absolutely right. They needed that break. They look fatigued. I think Saints will try and ambush it. I think they'll be violent today, Saints. I think they'll go for him, try and attack him with the defence, and then with the ball. If Saints can get the combinations working, they'll not be far off.
Well, the fireworks, as you can probably hear, are going off. The teams are out on the pitch, so let's take you to our commentary team, which is Robbie, Hunter Paul and Matt Newsom.
Well, I just jumped about 10 foot in here because one of those fireworks seemed to scream past our commentary position. Hull KR really rolling out the big guns this afternoon for this huge game. 80 minutes from Old Trafford. These two teams, Dean Hadley and co, would love to get back there in 2025, having passed up that final last year. Saints and their hero of last weekend in Shane Wright would love to poop the Robins party. The Robins, of course, going for the treble. Tristan Saylor's magic will be key if Saints are to do that. Mikey Lewis, another player who's going to grab plenty of headlines this afternoon. Robbie, Hunter Paul, we're about to get underway. This stadium is packed. There's a cracking atmosphere. Really strong contingent from Saints as well. And we've got the classic, the Erasure, Little Respect, which always greets every home game for the Robins.
Yeah, so excited about this game, man. Look, it has all the elements to be a classic. What you've got on one side, you've had a team that's dominated all season long in Hull KR, but they've had a rest and they needed that rest, well documented. Equally, on Saints, they've got players that have been there, done their world-class players, both young and old, and they won't go away. Hull KR are going to need to get into this game early, put some points on the board and shut them down. Do not let St Helens stay in the game, or else we might have a situation that unfolded against Leeds last weekend.
Yeah, Robins need to get the job done and make sure of it, because Saints will not go away. The second of the semi-finals then, live on the BBC, as the kick from Saylor fielded out on that far side, and immediately here come the Robins. And Jared Warrior-Hargreaves, who knows that his career is over at the end of this campaign, would love to cling on for one last big night in his calendar. As with many of these Robins players, Jez Litton, a dream team fullback, should I say hooker, and he is such a fulcrum of what this Hull KR side can do, and he's off and about already, showing some of that threat.
And that's what you're going to see a lot from Jez Litton tonight. He needs to get on the front foot. Look, Hull KR got a great outside back to get forward. They've got great forward pack and get forward. Any opportunity he can get out acting half with some lazy markers, he'll steal yards, and it becomes exhausting for those players in the middle of the park.
Tristan Saylor galloped onto that one. And Saints start their set midway inside their own half. Dion Cross attempting to breach the Robins line. Plenty of full throttle defensive efforts in these early stages. Well, I don't think either of these sides are leaving anything to chance here.
No, we're leaving it, like this part of the game is about the arm wrestle. It's about condensing your defence. Great kick and chase there by Hull KR. They squeeze the defence right up. What that means is they can make 3-4 man tackles. That slows the play the ball down. That means that you've got full control of the play the ball and speed of the game.
So Jack Wellsby talked about much in the build-up to this one. Roger Morg will offer that one up to Tom Davies, who was a player unlucky not to be named in the Super League Dream Team this season. Huge meters, huge carries. Gets this Robin side on the front foot on so many occasions. His wing partner, Joe Burgess, that time. Injury-punctured season for Ollie Gildart as he looks to get Hull KR forward, and Willie Peters knows that This is last chance saloon stuff in the Super League playoffs. Tyrone May with a kick, and there's a really good chase on here. Petahiku might not have the gas to get away from Tristan Saylor. Tristan Saylor's got the gas to get away from him though, and they're going to chance their arm here, Saints, from deep. But a really good chase, likewise from Hull KR. But two teams really trying to throw some punches here.
Well, they are. Look, great thinking there by Tyrone May. They had the edge, so it meant that the Saints wingman had to come up and stop the defence. He just saw the space in the back and just put a little dink of a kick. Good kick chase down there, but look, St Helens have got the class in their team, just to make something out of nothing. Hull KR are going to have to give them the right side of respect. They're going to have to continue and get the entire defensive line down there, because Saints can score from anywhere.
Yeah, Alex Walmsley, veteran front rower, but still cranking out the yards for this Saints team. Clark to Saylor. Now Wellesby's mega boot comes into play. And Tom Davis will return this with real vigour. And as you mentioned before, Robbie, this is real arm wrestle time.
Oh, it certainly is. This is where they're just purchasing for position. But this part of the game pays dividends in the final. The opening 20 minutes pays dividends in the final 20 minutes. You hold the ball, you play out your sets, you get to the back end, you make the opposition tackle you in the parts of the field that you want. And then you can come away with the game when everybody starts to get tired. But you got to play with discipline.
Lewis, oh, they're smuggling it wide for Burgess. Can he hit the accelerator? Lewis is in field. In the end, Harry Robertson with a desperate attempt to stop the Robins from scoring. Hull KR there had Saints stretched, and it was only some desperate defence to stop them, but the Robins will be back here. Hull KR have another opportunity by the looks of things, Robbie.
Well, it certainly was some desperate defence, and you can see actually Wright just pulling back Mikey Lewis in the backfield there. I think Joe Burgess was complaining about it. He's just pointing at his players there. It's just making that point there. But some great defensive desperation there, just to stop the pass, to stop the try. Mikey Lewis would have been under the sticks then.
And they've had to bust a gut, Saints. Harry Robertson, the hero last week, he kept that try alive against Leeds. And a run that looked like he was covered in grease the way he was slithering about. Now Lewis loading up this time, but Saints stand firm. Matt Whitley tackling Petahiku. Soaso Su, the big front rower. Lytton, Warrior Hargreaves. Saints certainly being softened up by those big middles. May out to Morg. He's got hot stepping feet, but
good defence.
Well locked up. May will turn that back to Warrior Hargreaves, but Saints line speed really aggressive, not allowing the Robins any space and time. May again. Lewis. Harrison to Gildart. Oh, great tackle from Harry Robertson. The ball came loose in the process, and Saints, you can see what that means to them. Big defensive wraps for the away side here.
Oh, it certainly is, and they've done their homework. They know that Tyrone May is their key player indicator. Where Tyrone May goes, that's where the ball's going to. So the players are just watching him. Shut down the play outside on the right-hand side of the field, and obviously when they came back then, they just got their numbers sorted out. But that won't stop. That's going to come at them all night long with Mikey Lewis. And the threat that Mikey Lewis is he's great after contact. He can go into a tackle and he can pull out of it. He's not the biggest player on the field, but man, he is pound for pound, probably the strongest.
And what we know about Hull KR this season, what a lot of that success has been built on: a Challenge Cup, a League Leaders Shield, it's grinding teams down, sticking to a game plan and wearing teams out and then getting them at the back end. But they've started with a real aplomb here.
Oh, certainly. Very patient, absolutely patient. A little bit of gamesmanship there. Mikey Lewis happens to be in and amongst it once again. Oh, here's some space.
Whitley, not sure how much wrap of the arm there was that time from Petahiku, but the tackle affected and everyone seems to be happy with it. Wellesby, and then Curtis Sirenen, I don't think has kicked since his halfback days in the kind of 2010s.
2010s? Yeah. When he was under 10s.
He did play halfback, you know, at West Tigers. Yeah,
that's the biggest halfback on the planet. He's 6'8".
Set restart here for OKR, so back to 0, sorry. Another set of 6 for them to play with. Hadley. Oh, Saints have come hunting. And Harry Roberts, should I say Johnny Lomax that time, throwing himself into the tackle. Sleaze and Clark. I think you can tell things are hotting up. Minchella, OKR's captain and talismanic figure. And now May plays before the line to Moore, keeps it moving out to Petahika. If they let him get out, this is where fireworks can really start. The Saints get that tackle made. Mikey Lewis sends up the kick. Bit of pressure there from Sirenen. And then Tristan Saylor almost buried himself into the ground there as the tackles came in.
Yeah, you can see the numbers bearing down him. It's the lonely place to be when you're fullback and all you can hear is OKR footsteps coming at you. But the OKR will do this all night long. They'll bend you into the corner of the park. They'll turn you around. They'll keep you coming out of your own quarter. And before you know it, you've got no energy left in the tank. The game's just heating, like you're saying, the game's just heating up. We've had 8 minutes of just the arm wrestle, and now we're getting the power shots. These boys are all warm. The big contact is coming in now.
Paul Wellens tight-lipped at the moment. John Bennison feeling the effects. And a player who will be leaving Saints at the end of the season, but he's given them fine service, but head injury assessment for him. And so Saints forced into a bit of an early reshuffle here, Robbie.
Yeah, look, struggling for numbers with Mark Percival being out of the game already. So this is going to be a little bit of a tester for Paul Wellens, who he shuffles around if Bennison has to come from the field. But look, this is exactly the type of physical game that... Just trying to have a look there, see if there was a little bit of head contact that we didn't see. Doesn't look like much in it, does it?
No, he's clearly not right, John Bennison. Something's connected somewhere.
What, is it his shoulder?
Although he looks fairly okay coming off, but precautionary. So Moses Mbai on. Just hypothesising here.
Well, if Jared Whitehair-Hargreaves coming at me, I'm probably going to do that as well. Just the idea of him coming at me is enough to make me start swooning.
So Saylor to the wing, Wellsby to fullback, and Mbai to halfback. That would be the logical, wouldn't it? I think Saylor has trotted out to that.
You've nailed it.
Left-hand side. But Saints being kept hemmed in at the moment by OKR's aggression. Never get placed at Old Trafford up for grabs in this Super League playoff semi-final. Oh, and Shane Wright spots some space. There's a little bit of harum scarum about that. He panicked, and OKR profit.
And that's it. That's what you can't do. You can't allow OKR to keep coming back into your own quarter. They're very good at what they do. They set up their plays really quickly. Everything's really smooth, and then before you know it, you're under pressure. They'll lull you. They'll show you the edge, but you've got to nail your skill. You've got to nail it every time.
Lytton will provide the service. Lewis saw he darts back towards the gap, but Saints shut the door very quickly. But now they're on the back pedal. Lytton or Sue this time. They're really pounding on the door. Last tackle in the set. A kick into the in goal. Wellsby recovers it. And just at that point, they weren't quite all connected, OKR.
No, very good kick actually. It got into the end goal, but none of the players were upstream. They didn't think that Jez Lytton was going to put the kick in the backfield, so it just allowed Jack Wellsby to actually clear it out. But actually still, again, I don't think Peters will be too unhappy about where they started that set. Inside Saints half, 10-metre line, it basically becomes a defensive attacking set.
Alex Walmsley, he knows only one route, and that is to just plough forward. Mbai comes on, it's a hooked kick. Burgess will return it. And Joe Burgess, who started his career at Wigan, and he has Some 15 tries in 24 games against Saints, so he's had his field days over the years.
You just get the feel that Hull KR are getting the lion's share of this game at the moment. Now, we saw this, Matt, last week against Leeds, but Leeds didn't execute into points. Hull KR are going to need to turn this into points because in that Saints team, they have too much class. They got players that know how to play the long 80 minutes. And we saw that against Leeds last week. So execution is going to be massive today.
Litton finds Minchella. May runs into traffic. Sue. Minchella opens up for him here. Scything break. Litton hacks on.
Or is that a red card? Well, have a look at this. Litton puts the little, tips it on, puts the kick through, tips it on. Wellesby pulls him back. Not a red card, sorry. That might be 10 minutes. That might be a professional foul there. Good work by Elliot Minchella there. Just keep staying alive. Jez Litton, smart thinking. No one in the backfield. Nah. Oh, he did have a little pull there.
Well, Saints, should I say, Hull KR have the ball. Jack Wellesby being spoken to by referee Liam Moore. Well, you heard it yourself, Simbin for Jack Wellesby. And so, Hull KR have Saints a man down. They have them on the rack. And rather than run it, they're going to take the kick here.
Yeah, so there's an argument here saying, well, they're without a defender. And as we can see, this is why. Just that little pullback there is deemed to be a professional foul. So they're without a defender for 10 minutes. Isn't this the smart time to try and go for a 4-pointer, which you can turn into a 6-pointer? Actually, I like this play. In knockout rugby league, which is what this semi-final is, just keeping your nose in front of the opposition can start to play games in their head. So 2 points, knock the 2 points out. Make sure you kick it dead, so even if you don't kick the 2 points, you get the ball back. Then you can turn up the pace on, putting the pressure on the opposition. But 2 points turns it to you. You know, you get another 2 points, turn it into 4 points, 6 points. Just keep knocking it up. Keep the pressure, make it psychological pressure because there's no tomorrow.
So Arthur Morg, the France international fullback. He will take his requisite time. He needs to kick this to give the Robins the early advantage in this playoff semi-final. Cup tied in the Challenge Cup, so he missed out on Wembley glory. But he's put Hull KR on the first steps to Old Trafford. 2 points to nil. Arthur Morg.
And that's what you need. You need to put points on the board. They've been having the lion's share of the pressure. The majority of the game seems to have been played down in St. Helens' quarter. St. Helens guilty of pushing passes and overplaying a little bit and allowing Hull KR to continue to keep the pressure on them. But that's what you want. You want the opening 15 minutes, St. Helens team continually turning around because that'll take their engine out of the banks for them. But equally, when you can come around, you can put 2 points on the board psychologically. That puts more weight on your side of the field as well. So, look, can they build on it?
Well, I don't think you need to be much of a lip reader to understand what Jack Wellesby was intimating there about Jez Litton. Could be England teammates this autumn when England take on Australia in the Ashes. Are live on the BBC as Soaso Sue drags Hull KR forward on the back of the restart. Burgess the latest to engage. Litton poised. Warrior Hargreaves. Soaso Sue just winded in back play. Hadley with a marauding run.
Good run.
Sue looks okay. He's slightly
wobbly at the moment. No space for Elliot Minchella. And now Mikey Lewis's boot will be employed. And Robertson well poised. So Saints at the moment, Robbie, they are kind of running with almost a fluid system, aren't they? They've got no fullback at the moment with Jack Wellesby off the field. They've lost John Bennison, but they're still in the game, in the game.
They've had to have 2 reshuffles with Wellesby off the field. But look, this is perfect for Hokear. They just need to continue to build pressure. What St. Helens are doing now, they've got to be looking down the barrel of the timer now and just say, what we need to do is we just need to manage these next 8 minutes until we can get back to full quota. And I tell you what, there's nothing better than managing the next 8 minutes by making breaks and making half breaks.
Yeah, Shane Wright, the latest. Well, that was a turnover.
But that's not good enough. They've got to get a kick away. They've got to make Hokear come out of their own 22 minimum. They can't just finish the ball and hand over the ball on the 40-metre line because, look, I can tell you now, Hokear are winning the energy battle. They'll have the wind in their sails. They've got the wind at their back with the wind coming out of off the Humber. Everything's going to be going forward at this point in time. And what it does, again, I'm coming back to the energy thing. It's a long season. We're in the playoffs. It's been such a long season. You don't want to give your mind any opportunity to pack in for the year.
Petihiku slicing. Roger Morg jumps the dummy half. May onto Warrior Hargreaves. Morg again with the tiptoeing.
He's such a jackrabbit. I tell you what, that's where Hokear might have the advantage with Petihiku. He plays centre going up against Matt Whitley.
Lewis.
Oh, it's on.
Oh, here goes Burgess back on the inside. Mikey Lewis. Another moment of magic for this little wizard. East Hall's hero. A Challenge Cup winner. And he just lifted Craven Park once again.
Well, we spoke about them building pressure. We spoke about St. Helens needing to finish their sets, get the ball long, and once again handing the ball over to Hokear in a position where they're very comfortable. They got the wind in their sails. Then what are they doing? They're just building pressure. They have this set up, this line set up. Mikey Lewis out the back. Tyron May playing that really slow, but he plays all the way into the defensive line, meaning that the sliding defense can't move off. There you've got Johnny Lomax just moving late. They're short on numbers anyway. Ooh. The momentum rule, eh? The players moving forward in momentum. The line shows up there. Joe Burgess, Mikey Lewis back on the inside. We've seen them score. It feels like hundreds of those tries this season down that sideline, just like that. But unlike last week against Leeds, what we're seeing is that pressure turned into points. And St. Helens need to figure out a way now to, just manage these next 5 minutes until they get a full quota back onto the field. They need to finish their sets, get to the back end of their sets, kick the ball long, not hand the ball back to Hokear, and do their job properly.
Mikey Lewis going to have a big autumn, you'd imagine, if selected by Sean Wayne for that England squad. Meanwhile, Archer Morg with a big job of his own. Keep the points ticking over here in East Hall as he launches that one to perfection. We've got all sorts going on here, fireworks shooting out. Hokear in party mood, but they've been ruthless there. John Bennison off the field. They've targeted that edge, and ruthlessly so.
Oh, certainly. Look, they do it time and time again. What they do, they have the lead runner coming through, just tying the defensive players in the middle of the park, giving them the overlap. And when you've got that quality of player, when you've got the quality of halfback, they can take the line on. And you've got the speed out wide with Joe Burgess. Any edge is going to be devastating.
Paul Wanners there, looking on. Likewise, Jack Wellesby. He knows all about grand final heroics 2020. Empty stadium across the city in Hull. Here was Saints match winner in the final play of the game. And once he's back on, he'll be no doubt looking to make up for any misdemeanor so far. Litton onto Burgess, creator of that try. And George Delaney is on for Saints. So they have tweaked things, keeping that pack fresh. Litton to Warrior-Hargreaves. Shuddering contact.
Two big humans on each other.
Matty Lees never shies away from the physical. Likewise, Sherry Warrior-Hargreaves. Great kick. Oh, just Tristan Saylor has managed to skip the 40-20, and then he sold on it. Gildart dummy, and he's off here, Tristan Saylor, but play's been brought back. And Saints play on to sarcastic cheers. So, no doubt in Liam Moore's mind, Tristan Saylor's touch went forward. So, okay, I've got prime.
Well, I can tell you now, Morgan Knowles ain't going to be happy. That's a long way to run for a big man. Pinned his ears back here, 50 metres to run, got under the post and turned around and realised, oh, the referee had called it back. It's a long way to run back as well. See, look, he's complaining now.
So Morgan Knowles, who is heading to the NRL with the Australian Elite League with the Dolphins, his former coach Christian Wolf in 2026, but still has designs on finishing his Saints career in a fine way. Lewis out to May. Can he find that flick pass? Still going here. In the end, it's tenacious from Hulkea, and it had to be. Lewis onto Sue, and that refrain you can hear will explode if he scores. Minchella again goes back to the middle, looking to promote the offload. St Helens being worked over. The left side, no, it's the right side they'll go to. I said they were all baying for the ball. Batchelor got the ball instead. May, Lewis, Morg tries to hold the pass. This time it's Gildart who's wrapped up. This is the last. Burgess is just gonna cart that in and hand it over.
Yeah, it looks boring, but look at where they've finished. 5 metres from St Helens try line. They got full control of the game. They're going to squeeze them again. They've bunched up their numbers. In this here moment, they'll make 3-4-man tackles. They'll control the speed of the pay the ball. Before you know it, St Helens will be trying to kick the ball from their own 20-30 metre line. It'll be back, and then it'll be back again for attack. This is I don't think in these opening 20 minutes, Hulkea have actually made an error, and that's so important in this type of game.
And when they've got a team like this, penned in their own end, they will just go for it. They will squeeze them tight. Chatwell's be back on, by the way, as Clark gets it onto the aforementioned Morgan Knowles, who is as physical a presence as you'll find, one of the best back rowers in the world. His kick downfield. That time from Saints is fielded by Tom Davis, and you can't give him any space.
No, you can't. And look, that was a long kick, and it didn't go very far, but this is the wind. Obviously, the UK has had a storm over the last 24, 48 hours, and that wind's not easy. You've got to drill it long, you've got to drill it hard and low along the ground, if anything. Hulkea playing the perfect game at this point in time.
Paul Wellens deep in dialogue with his team on the bench. Minchella now to May. Reece Martin, who's just come on. Seeks a route through. Held up that time. May drifting. Hadley's gone to the front row. Martin into the back row. Litton jumps. And it's a big ball wide for Gildart. Can they get the overlap here? Gildart flicks the pass for Burgess!
What a pass!
A money ball from Ollie Gildart. Finished off by Joe Burgess. And Liam Moore, well, he's going to send this to his video referee, Jack Smith. He will take a look at it. But the most important thing, it's gone up as a try. And now it's over to Jack Smith.
We're checking the touchline to ground him, please. Run it through. Ball carrying arm is up. Ball carrying arm is up. See where he catches this ball. Feet are in the field. He maintains possession of the ball. Feet appear to be up. Have we got something from the side angle, please, on this? Check where the feet are. Foot is lifted. Right, can we have something from the opposite camera to confirm grounding? His feet are in the field. We just need to confirm grounding of the ball now. From this angle and slow. Can we go frame by frame, please? Hands are on the ball. Hands are on the ball. Have you got something to confirm that his left hand stays on the ball, please? His left hand here. Right. Have we got all available angles on this? Yeah, so yeah, we'll run it through on this, please. Go back, please, just a tiny bit. Right, his left hand, which is left hand. His left hand stays on the ball. His left hand stays on the ball all the way to the ground. I've made my decision.
And so, Joe Burgess, teed up by his old pal, Ollie Gildart, provides yet more delight for those in red and white. 12 points to nil. Hooker have a healthy lead, and Saints already have a little bit of a hill to climb.
You know what, I put that down as a defensive set before. They know that they've got the players on the edge. Oliver Gildart just backs himself. Takes on the defenders, he just backs himself, takes on the defenders, gets taken down just before the try line, but still has the ability to get the ball away, and then it's a try time. But I put it down to the set before. They finished that set, if we remember, inside, once again, St. Helens 10-metre defensive zone. Then they got big defensively, stopped St. Helens coming up. They had to kick long in their own 30-metre zone, got the ball back, and they were able to punch holes and then create that space out on the left-hand edge. They're playing the right game, and they're not only doing that, but they're turning it into points as well. And they're just, I can't see Holkar coming away from this game plan.
So Artur Morg, a picture of concentration, but he's pulled it. Well, that 2 points from the penalty goal before ensures that it's a 12-point lead.
They love this left-hand side of the field. Time and time again, they'll go out there. They know they've got the strike. They know they've got size out on the edge with Joe Burgess as well as speed. Mikey Lewis loves to shake around on that side as well, so defenders can't slide too early to bulk up the numbers over there, because Mikey Lewis just loves running the ball, taking the line on, scoring tries. So you can't release too early. They'll do that time and time again to Holkar. They'll set up on the right-hand side and come back at the left.
So John Bennison has failed his head injury assessment, so he is ruled out for the rest of the game. Tristan Saylor has moved on to the right wing. Jack Wellesby will play at fullback, having returned to the field from his sin bin, and Moses Mbai will continue that position in the halves. Well, it's a situation that they've faced at times this season, so it's not going to be alien to the Saints. Holkar, though, moving forward with purpose. Whitbread got it on that time. Hiku, such a threat running wide. And an offload for May. They're turning up the heat on Saints here. Oh, the final pass, though, to Artur Morg. Just let Saints off the hook.
Yeah, that's Holkar's first error, I think. And this is what we were talking about it before. This is one of the strengths of having an experienced centre like Peter Hiku going up against Matt Whitley, who's deputising out in the centres, normally a back row. But what happens when you're a defender regularly on the edge of a defensive line? You know how to understand space. You know how much you should show the opposition the outside, how much you need to bring them back on the inside, when to go forward, when to pull back. And that's about the third time we've seen Peter Hiku come off his right foot and beat Whitley back on the inside.
It's not insurmountable, certainly for Saints. but they've had a little bit of adversity to cope with already. 13 minutes of the first half left. What's the approach, Robbie? Where do they go here to turn this around?
Well, the important thing is getting down the field and finishing the sets, which comes as no surprise, right? So playing out the game, trying to give Hokea a bit of medicine in what they've been teaching them. Get physical again. They've got some of the biggest forward packs, forward running players in the game, and they've got enough talent within their ranks to actually put, to not only score tries but to make half breaks like what we've just seen there. In the second half, though, in the final 40 minutes of this game, what they'll have is the wind at their back. So that'll become an advantage. At the moment, they're getting no purchase on the kick because they don't really have an out kicker.
Welshby just teasing that one into backfield, and Hokea have to deal with it. And just about they do. Archer Morg somehow
he's done well
in the field of play.
He squirmed his way back over the line, and the difference that makes to your forward pack. The forwards come back and actually pat you on the back. Forwards never pat backs on the back, but when you do plays like that, you get your nose out.
Well, it's a chance now for Saints to really aim up on Hokea and jam in and compress the defence and really punish those big forwards as Jai Whitbread feels some of that. Hokea with that commanding lead as it stands, 2 converted scores. They'll be happy with that. 11 and a bit to go, and Jess Litton just clears the lines. But it's a great kick. I mean, that's just split the fullback and winger, and he sat it practically on the opposition goal line.
Oh, it certainly is. It's a great kick. Good kick pressure as well. They've got the defensive line that can now start another set inside St. Helens 10-metre zone.
Saints, though, chancing their arm, and they get it wrong, and that's great when they've got full of adventure like that. But you've got to know when to play, where to play, and maybe some naivety there from Saints.
Well, yeah, look, they're going to have to chance their hand. Look, it's not too big a play. It's just they're a little bit unlucky there. Just got the ball knocked out, did Harry Robinson.
Jack, we have a captain's challenge. St. Helens a challenge in the on-field decision of a knock-on.
So Saints challenging.
Deemed as 2 knock-ons. The first one of Harry Robertson.
It's tackle 1. Saints are challenging the on-field ruling of a knock-on of Harry Robertson. Harry Robertson in possession at this point. He's in possession. And go back on this angle, see what are Lewis's actions and intentions. Is Lewis playing at the ball or not on that? Have we got any other angles? Right. Mikey Lewis appears to be playing at the ball on that. Let's have a look if he is on this angle. Right. Let's go back on this same angle, please, and check that he does touch the ball and not the hand. This angle and frame by frame. So Mikey Lewis is having a swipe at the ball and he makes contact on the ball. Can we go back to camera 4 just for perspective, please, of direction? So we've established Mikey Lewis is playing at the ball and his fingers flick across the top of it as a swipe. Let's just check which direction the ball goes then. And the ball goes towards Saints' in-goal area. Thank you, I've made my decision.
So the result of the captain's challenge, Saints are successful. Well, there we go. And if you were wondering about Storm Amy, just look at how much the posts are wobbling, Robbie.
Oh, they certainly are. The wind has definitely picked up since kickoff has started. I think we saw it in their last kick. One of the advantages that Hokea, they've got 2 left-footed kickers. So no matter where they are in the field, they have someone that's kicking away from their oncoming chasers. So Torrin May with a right-footed kick, Jez Litton and Mikey Lewis, both left-footed kickers. And that's a great advantage to have as as any team, to have 3 strong kickers that can kick from any side of the field. But that makes a difference. St. Helens will get that in the next 40. I think Hull KR, I think St. Helens were lucky then. Yes, no, don't get me wrong. Mikey Lewis was playing at the ball. And we've seen those calls go against players before, but I think that was the opportunity for Hull KR just to put that nail in the coffin. They didn't get the ball back, and if St. Helens can hold Hull KR out for the rest of this half, which is only another 10 minutes, then what they'll have is they'll have that, you know, tremendous wind, you know, puffing up their sails come the second half. And 12 points, Hull KR won't be comfortable with that.
Well, lovely hands, Wellesby. Trying to get Dion Cross away on that far side. Back now in the hands of Mbai. Lomax hoists it. You see it got caught in the wind. In fact, it almost swung it away from Archer Morg, but he recovered well, the Frenchman.
Yeah, that's one of the tricky things. It does. It really does when you play in the backfield and you're playing in blustery conditions like this, because it's not just one stream. They're blustering. It's coming in waves. And the ball can do all sorts of crazy things. What I've not seen yet, which I've been quite surprised by, we've not seen a floater kick yet, where you kick it up in the air and the ball comes down like you mentioned last week. It's a plastic shopping bag and it floats all over the place. They are terrible, terrible balls to try and catch in conditions like this.
Jez Litton waits for the play of the ball. So Super League will be back on the BBC in 2026. 15 live games across the network, and of course highlights from every match as well. And the Challenge Cup, every round featured at least one game from every round on the BBC network from the quarter-finals onwards. And that big final at Wembley, of course, where it will be finals day once again.
And there we saw as an example of how hard it is to catch balls in the backfield. That ball went up in the air, nobody wanted it. Everybody in the backfield were looking at each other saying, it's yours, it's yours. You're taught in the backfield to scream, it's mine, it's mine. They were all screaming, no, it's got nothing to do with me. Horrible, horrible catches.
Robertson seeking some route forward. Again, it's a bit sloppy from Saints. They just about get away with it that time, but the Piranhas were hunting in the tank that time. As Hull KR forwards ready. Knowles with a flick offload. Oh, Lewis might have beaten them to the punch, but now it's Jack Wellesby. He's a competitor. So is Mikey Lewis, and that's what we want to see.
Oh, it certainly is. Look, St. Helens have decided to loosen the play up already. They're chasing the game. We know that they are. It's surprising the tactics that they are deploying, but look, they've got that quality of player in the team that if they can sniff something, they've got to take it. They're world class.
Wellesby onto James Bell, and his presence will help spice things up for Saints, but once again you just see the intensity of Hull KR in defence, just taking time and space away from St. Helens. Bell onto Mbai, Sirenin, oh lovely pass, now they've got some space but loads of cover back for Hull KR, and Dion Cross, I think he thought for a minute it was all progressing nicely, and then he just saw a wall of red and white shirts.
Yeah, that's right. Look, they saw the opportunity. It was the last play. The line always becomes fractured on the last play as everyone expects the kick to be put in, and I think that's something that the defenses have to get used to because these conditions are so terrible. I think when the player gets the ball in their hand, they're going to start to think, actually, should we run it here? Because we're getting no purchase, the ball's not going anywhere. As soon as we put the ball up in the air, if we kick it along the ground, we've got to try and navigate our way through defending bodies. So running the ball on the last play might be the smart decision if you're running into this wind.
Jai Whitbread motors forward for Hull KR. Sam Luckley, the big Geordie, pops a pass away. Oh, and there was Moses Mbai. He's off back to Australia at the end of this season, and he left his imprint on Archer Morg there. It's getting tasty. Lewis, really clever dab into backfield.
And that's it. The more, if the ball can hit the ground, every time it hits the ground, it means basically anywhere from 3 to 5 meters your defensive line can get forward. And there we go. Once again, we see St. Helens starting the defensive line from on there, or if not inside their 10-metre line. Hokea's game plan all season is to get physical and defense. Kick the ball down there, squeeze your line in, make 3-4-man tackles, at least 2 to 3-man tackles.
What Bell and Lomax tried to combine. It's ball's bobbling about all over the place there. And so Hull Kingston Rovers will get the ball back here.
It's almost a compliment for Hokea that Saints are continuing looking to push the pass. It means that it's too tough going through the middle of the park. It means that they're not getting any purchase, they're not going forward well. And I mean, that's what happens when you start your sets defensively inside the opposition's 10. That means you can squeeze your defensive line in. It means you can get together with numbers with your other players around you. You can make 3-4-man tackles and control the speed of the play of the ball. Obviously, what it offers to St. Helens at that point in time is that they're spaced out wide, but they're high-risk, low-percentage plays. And as we've seen, St. Helens have coughed the ball up a number of times in their own half.
Oh, Litton to Lewis, just for a minute. He sensed the gap was there. Saints closed it. Are they going to look to punch some more? Whitbread. What a transformation he's had in Robin's colours. Relegated with Wakefield in 2023. Racking up the trophy since. Another pummelling run by Luckley. Saints creaking. Hook out through Litton. Reece Martin. Folded up nicely. But the threat lurks. Lewis to May. Hiku opens up for Peter Hiku! Well, is he short or has he squeezed that down? I think that rueful look says maybe he didn't. And this will go to the video referee. No try. Jack Smith will take a look at this one.
Tackle 4, we've got no try. We're checking grounding of the ball. Hiku's in possession at this point. He's got a grip of the ball. The ball is up. Ball is still up. And let's just confirm on the opposite corner angle, please. He appears to lose the ball short of the line on that. He's got a grip on the ball at this point. Still got a grip on the ball. He's then lost possession of the ball short of the line. Thank you, I've made my decision.
And so, Peter Hiku, so often a threat. 14 try assists, 8 tries, but he hasn't added to that tally with that one. But he's such a big body with such silky hands that when he gets in a position like that, he creates so much panic, so much doubt.
He does. You know, he's got that dead leg step, that goose step. Basically, you don't, as a defender, you don't know what you're doing because he just sort of skips, he floats in the air, he thinks he's going to come off his right, and he kicks on. And that just beats the player in front. I'll tell you, another player that does that really well is Jay Whitfield. Jay Field from Wigan, absolutely brilliant at it. But look, big game players come up with big game plays. And I've got to take my hat off there to Wellesby. Just that little bit of a turn, just a little bit of a hand to just try and hold Peter Hiku up there, just stopped them from releasing that ball and getting the ball over the try line. He did everything that he could to stop that try then.
George Delaney was well outnumbered there, but he still made a decent fist of poking his nose through. Shane Wright, no heroics so far tonight, but OKR are showing the dogged determination which has made them Challenge Cup winners and League Leaders Shield winners. Wellesby with those swinging hips, almost catching OKR off guard. Bell plays short of the line, and well, there were a few cries of forward. Morgan Knowles and Mikey Lewis getting entangled. And that's one for Saints as Welsby's kick just gets caught up in that wind again. You're right, I think, Robbie, and unless we get a dramatic shift in the way that this wind is blowing.
Well, I can tell you now, any other day of the week when we've got normal conditions to play and that ball goes into the corner. I mean, that's what they're used to, that's what they're setting up for. But the ball's just stalling in the air. You've probably got to start looking at moving the defenders, creating space and drilling the ball like a grubber kick all along the line, along the ground. That way you can keep it out of there, you can control where it goes.
Reece Martin plays it. Hadley, whip it onto Luckley. Half break, smart offload. Hiku gallops forward. St Helens containing Kingston Rovers for the moment. Lewis on the last. That drop goal attempt. Oh, he's missed, but it didn't ping off the boot.
Oh, it came off there. Look, definitely playing with the wind in their sails and the wind behind them. He thought, well, you know what? Halfway out, I can go for it. I just got to get it on target and to let the wind do the work for me. But not a bad place to start. They're probably not going to be too unhappy about that. At the moment, what they're willing to do is condense their line and allow St Helens to push the ball and push passes because they're coming up with errors.
James Bell really taking Kingston Rovers on down the middle that time. He's had a tough season, James Bell. Had a bit of bone removed from his foot. Had a foot fracture before that. But when he plays, he off and offers that little bit of skill that St Helens ran themselves into a cul-de-sac. As the hooter sounds, Robbie Hunter-Paul, Kingston Rovers are 40 minutes away from a return to Old Trafford and a showdown with Wigan. But St Helens, as we know, will not be turning down their chances just yet.
Yeah, Hockey have had a great first half. They've dominated for the opening 40 minutes, but I can tell you now 12 points isn't enough. Not with the quality of team that you've got and quality of player that you have in the St Helens rank. We saw it last week. All they need is a little bit of emotional energy. They'll have the wind at their back in the final 40 minutes. They'll be thinking, they'll be hoping they get the wind of their sails.
So Kingston Rovers have the advantage at the halfway stage. Saints still very much in it, but it's all going the Robins' way. Half time, Hookay 12, St Helens 0.
Well, watching that with us, Kevin Brown and Mike McMeekin, and Kevin, that's as one-sided a 12-0 as I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I think they're very, very lucky to still be in this game. I don't think they've had to play the ball in the opposition's 20. It's the worst kicking performance I've seen from Saints, and they've had a few tough nights at the office in that department. I think, you know, when John Bennison got injured and then when Jack Welsby went off, it compounded that. But the kicking game and the kick setup, there's no variations, there's no kick threat from 9. It just seems to be all put on Jack Welsby. And when he is kicking the ball, he's getting picked off by the fullback.
What was your view of that first half?
Yeah, like Kev alluded to there, it's all about field position. At the moment, Hull KR are massively dominating that part of the game, and yeah, it looks like Saints can't get out their own half, and they've not. I don't think they've attacked Hull KR's line yet, have they?
You alluded to the Welsby sin bin. Let's take a look at it. Did you feel it was quite harsh on him?
I did. I thought it was a coming together of a couple of players. I thought Jez Litton was pretty cute when he made the break, and you know he gets the ball at this point now, and then he does pull his shirt. But for me, I do think he goes down a little bit easy. I think in a semi-final like this, you just let him play on a little bit, but to the letter of the law, he has tugged him. I think he needs to stay on his feet. The kick was going sideways anyway. I don't think there was a try-scoring opportunity, and he sees that and he goes down, and Jack Welsby, as he's walking off, he does the diving with his hands, but that really hurt Saints, not because it was a man down, it's the main player, the kicker, who's been put from 6 to fullback because John Bennison went off, and then when they were all over the place, their attack was clunky, they was dropping the ball. They couldn't get out of this area, could they? The 20 metres here, I think the man who's going to fix all these divots now. He's got a bigger job on than anyone.
The first try was, we'd seen it again and again, they just weren't finishing sets properly.
No, they weren't, and when they couldn't get out, they were being strangled, they couldn't get out the yards, and then when they did, they tried to run it on the last, and I think this was the second or third occasion that they got caught. We know how good Hull KR are. And then when they get the positions, they just open them up. Obviously they're down, to 12 men here. They've not got John Bennison on the wing. They've not got Tristan Saylor on the field. Sorry, Jack Welsby on the field. And Hull KR just pull a perfect attack. For me, this forward pass though at the end, I think that's a question mark over that.
Yeah, I think forward pass or not, it's just a well-structured play by KR there. They've obviously identified the man down on that side, and Saylor's not played there much this year, but I think they've just taken full advantage of that there.
And Kevin alluded to the difficulties they'd had with their kicking game. A poor kick led to the territory for the second try, didn't it?
Yeah. If we look here, obviously, again, kicking from inside their 30 there, and then the wingers, Tom Davis, able to catch it on the full, and automatically that gives you 10-15 metres to get them on the front foot.
And they're straight into good ball attack where you see Jeslett and Mikey Lewis, and this ball is as good as you'll see from any centre. We thought he'd been caught. Tristan Saylor, he's been put on the wing, he tries to tackle him with his back, but the skill to get that off the back of the wrist, and again I would say there is a question mark on, and you definitely have got a question mark.
I was jumping on that thinking that was a forward pass, but I've never quite understood how you can look for offside on a kick but you can't look for a forward pass on video rec, but we won't go there. At the moment you can't see Saints getting back into this. There's so many errors, aren't there? I mean, it's only 2 tries, but they're just not attacking at all at the moment.
Yeah, and the positive is that they're only 12 points down, and you're doing it as a Saints team here as well. You don't want to write off the Saints team. And you also have to give a lot of credit to Hull KR and the way that they've played this game. They've played like a full semi-final playoff here, and it shows with the performance that they're putting in.
Yeah, and again, this is the 5th tackle, and normally you'd see them just put the boot on it and get some field position and get some territory down the other end. They can't do it, and you can see the frustration on the players' faces, on the coaches' faces, and then it's compounded. They try and play out of the backfield because they can't get any penetration through the middle of the field, and then again they turn the ball over. I saw right at the end it summed the full half up. They got thrown into touch, and I looked at Darryl Clark and he just went, let's get off the field. I think they'll draw a line through that half and go, we can't play any worse than that. We've got the wind at our backs, our kicking game needs to be better, we need to execute better, and we've got a chance.
Where we're stood it's not that windy, but it is, when we're walking up the side of the pitch it is windier down there. It's difficult to judge, isn't it, for us?
Yeah, and you'd probably say that it was in KR's favour that first half, so things switched around next half, and let's see what Saints can bring.
Well, for now, gentlemen, thank you very much. It is just a few weeks until the Ashes series, so let's whet your appetite and take you back to a classic from 1990. I've just had the editor say in my ear, I'm sure Kev can do that to the walking handstand. Do you want to give it a go?
I struggle walking on my feet, Tanya.
So, Mike, have you had a tip-off yet that you're in the squad?
Not yet, no. Just continuing training for the time being, and then I think it's a week on Monday that the squad gets announced, so fingers crossed, but we'll wait and see.
How excited are you by the prospect of, fingers crossed, you're in that squad taking on the Aussies?
Yeah, really excited. The first, Everton Stadium sold out within a few hours, and then the same at Headingley, and then Wembley is very close as well. And to have the first game down at Wembley, it's a very special feeling, with Australia not coming over here for, is it 20 years now, so it's going to be real special.
And do you watch the NRL and think, we can do this, our players can match them?
I think we've got a confidence about us. It's the fine line between confidence and arrogance, and I think we're just on the good side of confidence. We believe we've got a good group of lads together. Everyone's clicking, and as we showed the last 2 years, but we're not stupid. We know that Australian side's going to be good, but we're really looking forward to it.
And has Sean Wayne been in your ear all season of, you've got to do this, son, together, you need to up your game, this, that, the other?
He's been making sure that we're on our game. We've had meetings throughout the year. Obviously, a bit of telling us what we need to improve on, but at the same time, just making sure that group's together and we've got a good knitting group come to October, November time.
He's going to be beside himself when it comes around, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, it is not long to wait now, and the BBC's the place to follow it. We'll be at Wembley on Saturday the 25th of October for the first Ashes Test from 2 o'clock over on BBC One. And a reminder, the entire series is exclusively live on the BBC. Before then, 5 Live has commentary of the Super League Grand Final next Saturday at 6 o'clock. Listen on BBC Sounds, and we'll have full highlights at 1 o'clock next Sunday here on BBC Two. And join Mark Chapman for the latest episode of Rugby League's Top 10s on BBC Sounds. And we'll have plenty more Super League to enjoy next season with 15 live games across BBC TV and iPlayer, plus highlights every week on the BBC Sport website and app. Now, last Sunday it was the wheelchair grand final with the Halifax Panthers taking on the London Roosters, and it was the Panthers who came out on top to secure Rugby League's wheelchair treble and finish the season undefeated. World Cup winners Rob Hawkins and Jack Brown were playing key roles as Halifax won. Great scenes there, and congratulations to Halifax on a fantastic season. Now, we promised you full highlights of the first of the semi-finals between Wigan and Leigh. Your commentary team, Terry O'Connor and Mark Wilson.
Kicking high will be difficult in these conditions, such as the severity of the wind. Here now they go, it's a low kick, it's a low kick, and it's a chance here, and Troy's over the line. But has he got it down? Chris Kendall will want to check this.
Look, I think it's a try. I think that Trott gets this down. He rolls out. Harry Smith does a good job at first, and I think he gets the ball down there.
To overturn the decision, it looks like he's got it down, but there is no conclusive picture. Here's Smith, slams the kick straight downfield, it's collected on the full. Hodgson hairs off in field, full tilt. He's lost it, and that's going to be points for Bevan French. Slides in. Hodgson went careering into the tackle. The ball came free, and Bevan did the rest.
And Bailey Hodgson, you're giving him big raps. He's so excited bringing the ball back. But in conditions like this, the biggest thing when you're going into contact is making sure you have a real tight grip on the ball.
A yard out from the line. Quick play. Oh, what a catch! What a catch, Mulholland! And he's over! His first try of the season! And what a time to score it! What a catch on the short pass! Lamb is smiling. They are cheering. The Leopards are right back in it. 2 plays left. O'Neill gets it away now. Here's Ellis, finds Bevan French. French finds Farrell. Field into the line. Field slices through the line. Here they go! The champions are in! A game-changing play! Right on half-time! And it's Bevan French who's in again! Wigan celebrate! How good was that? Every man knows his side had just been hit with a huge sucker punch.
Mark, you said was there a bit of magic? There's your magic.
That's not a good pass. If you want anyone on the end of it, it's Bevan French, and he chips over the top. He needs a bounce. He might get a bounce. He tips it back. He picks it back up. He offloads it. Here's Cruz leaving. Bodies out wide. Good pass from December. December going for the corner. Leigh get to him. Offloads it. What an effort from Leigh. That was a chance for Junior December, but he couldn't squeeze over in the corner. Leigh Leopard scramble keeps him alive.
Well, you knew when Junior December got that ball, he wasn't going to pass it, was he?
Lamb wants it. Lamb will get it now. Offers the dummy. Gets it away to O'Brien. Body's in motion. Trout's away. For Rice. Trout. Can he get past field? What a tackle. What a tackle. Denies Trout. The big back rower couldn't get in. Jay Field might just surveyed the tackle that sends Wigan to the grand final. They might not even play this ball now. Kieran falls to the ground. He does play it. Here the countdown is on. Bevan French. His double has won it. His double has won it. Gets the ball away. They're going to score. hearts are broken. Cruel on the Leopards. Walters got 2 in the semi-final last year. He has won. But Tessie knew of the Leopards. They once again fall 1 game short. Super Bevan French it was. His 2 tries in the first half mean that Lee's wait for a first ever grand final goes on.
Kevin, you were there last night and the conditions were really difficult, weren't they? And you were highlighting when we were chatting that the kicking game of Harry Smith.
Yeah, I thought both sides were tremendous. There wasn't much in the game. It was probably a 2-minute period before half-time, but they've almost got a cheat code, Wigan. They're so resilient. They sit behind Harry Smith's kicking game, but when they get an opportunity, Jay Field and Bevan French are just unbelievable. But defensively, I thought Wigan just shut everything down, and it's summed up by Jay Field's tackle on Owen Trout.
Yeah, we talk so much about Jay Field as an attacking threat, but you know it was a try-saving and tackle, and possibly kept them in the right place for the game.
Yeah, you're so used to Jay Field doing special things with the ball, but then that potentially could have just cost them the trip to Old Trafford. So yeah, I'm sure Matty Pete will be over the moon with that tackle.
Well, the teams are coming out for the second half. What do Saints need to do to get back into this?
Keep hold of the ball, attack with shape and kick the ball much better. If they do that, they've got a chance, Tanya. They've showed with the defence they'll stay in the game, but their attack needs to be much better.
And they need those middles to get into the game, don't they, and push them forward?
Yeah, but that comes off the back of field position as well, you know, and at the moment they've just had no field position. Like I said, hats off to KR, the way they've been playing has been phenomenal.
Well, let's hand you back to our commentary team of Robbie Hunter-Paul and Matt Newson.
Well, the light's slightly fading, the floodlights are on and the temperatures are certainly dipping, but the wind has not abated. And this time Saints will hope that it can blow them onto Old Trafford. But they're going to need, as Mike McMeekin and Kevin Brown were alluding in the analysis at half-time, Robbie Hunter-Paul, that the kicking game has got to improve. But as you quite rightly pointed out, if they have got the wind at their backs, well, that's a hefty push in the right direction.
Oh, it certainly is. Look, 12 points isn't enough to play against this St Helens squad. Too much talent, too many experienced players. They'll take opportunities when they come, and they'll have the wind at their back. So it'll be a different sort of end of set for St Helens in this half. Be interesting to see the tactics that KR deploy, because they'll be wanting more of the same. Keep the pressure on Saints, keep Saints pushing passes and in effect making errors. But St Helens need to come out and then, you know what, opening 20 minutes here, keep it tight, finish sets, but really when the opportunities come, they need to execute. They haven't executed properly, and they need to execute. They've got the quality of player that can execute and finish opportunities and make points and score tries, but they need to do it in this 40 minutes or their season's over.
Well, so far St Helens have been up against the Hull KR side that look as though the week has done them a world of good. They finally secured that league leaders shield. Maybe that pressure release has enabled them to relax somewhat. Saints again really having to push things wide. They don't want to engage Hull Kingston Rovers down the middle, which is where the big boppers lurk. Delaney, oh, great cart from him. The space very quickly evaporated. Wellesby does get a kick away, but again, there's not a huge amount of depth. It was a bit of a flapper, that one.
It certainly was. It didn't come off the toe very well. Not the first kick. It doesn't instill you with confidence, doesn't it? Paul Wellens will be sitting on there. We need to finish our sets. We need to get a good kick away. We need to do what KR have done for us in the opening half. Well, I tell you what, with defense like that, that's exactly what KR were doing. Numbers together, get forward, put pressure on those early men carrying the ball for KR, and try and get them to kick the ball long into this 40-hour plus mile an hour wind.
I'll tell you what, Jay's bell at the moment looks like a quarter of a mummy. He's got a strapped up leg, but he didn't miss with that tackle. KR's turn to take it on, and there's Bell again, dishing out the punishment.
He's made a difference since he's come on. He's just brought a new enthusiasm to him. That's the type of kick we were talking about.
He's booted that quite beautifully, Mikey Lewis.
See what he does. He keeps the ball low. It's what they would call in golf a stinger. Basically, it cuts underneath the wind, pushes through it. It doesn't matter what the wind's doing. Ball hits the post.
Well, it wasn't quite the measured kick that he hoped for. That did touch the flag.
But what's great about that, you know, he's taken the wind out of the situation. He's still kicked it high enough to go over the top of the St. Helens defenders, but then it just dips down. It's a low stinger that keeps the ball travelling underneath the wind.
And Hull KR aiming up defensively at the moment. Shane Wright. Bashes his way forward. Lomax taking things by the scruff of the neck here for Saints. Coming to the twilight years of his career. Johnny Lomax has been such a fixture. Overcome so much. Clark finds Bell, really ramping up for the away side. Giving his side a platform to play off. Last one, Lomax. They might have to run it here. Wellsby, oh, lovely pass. And they've carried on here. Oh, brilliant dummy thrown! And Dion Cross! Well, the first time we've seen them attack them. And Saints score, and Dion Cross, sleight of hand, delivers a try which breaks the game wide open.
We expected St. Helens to come out and play this simple, boring, structured game where they just take their tackles, get a good kicker, but no, they're looking for opportunities. We talk about executing, this is execution at its best. Numbers, look how many St. Helens players they have on the inside. Just sells the dummy on the inside, does the fullback, free run to the try line. Johnny Lomax, Wellsby getting together, which they need to do more often. These are two big game players. They understand what needs to happen in these big games, in these big moments. I was thinking about it. What happens if St. Helens gets 6 points in it? This game's got nothing on it. Absolutely nothing on it. We said about it. It's 12 points is not enough. Not against the quality of players that they have in this St. Helens team. They know how to win. They've been there so many times. They won't get overwhelmed with the occasion like other players because they've been here so many times.
Well, there's no Mark Percival tonight, so his kicking boots are denied. John Bennison's gone off. Johnny Lomax will take up the baton. St. Helens, veteran halfback, to bring it back within a converted score. And it hits the post. And bounces in. He sinks it just about.
Not just about, he got it over. That's all it takes. As long as those two fellas in behind the post stick their flags in the air, that's what happens. You get those 2 points, it's half a try. It's so hard to score a try when you come to the semi-final playoffs, and that's half a try. It's a gift.
So St. Helens showing some spirit, some fight. And now running off the back fence, George Delaney.
They'll definitely grow. They've got big game players, they've got big game runners, and they'll grow.
Taking the line on as well. It's something we said in the first half. There's a lot of pre-line passing. You're not fixing defenders there, are you? Saints are fixing defenders, and what they did there, and they got the reward.
Well, they certainly did, and I think this has been part of Paul Welland's game plan. He identifies where Hull KR condense their line and which parts of the field, and they're looking to shift it again. St. Helens all have numbers out here on the left-hand side. They're looking to move the ball around. They're looking to move this Hull KR defence around.
Embai takes it to the line. Wellsby on to Robertson. Fair play to Matt Whitley. It's a standing centre, but that ball before for Dion Cross was exceptional. Sirenen, Saylor. There's a kick, more in hope than anticipation. And Wellsby almost had it in his grasp, but Archer Moore just held his nerve. And Hull Kingston Rovers come on with the ball.
What's the difference a half makes? In the first half, we saw St. Helens passing the ball around on their fifth and final tackle and it going to ground. Now you see them a little bit more composure, giving themselves some more space and time on the ball. Yes, they can pass it around, but then they still get a kick away, get to sort the defence out. Still ideally not the best place to start in and around the halfway, but they look a lot more composed.
Jez Litton will do big minutes tonight. No Mickey McAlorum as he failed to overcome the injury which has kept him out for some time. Litton again. Back to Mikey Lewis, already shown his vast qualities tonight. Then he cooked that one wrong, a scratch of the head, and suddenly OKR just maybe a little ruffled.
And that's right. These playoff games are all about momentum, about getting the momentum at the right time and then executing. And at this time, St. Helens, it's all with them. They've got the wind at the back, and it seems, yes, they have got the wind in their sails. Every player is moving forward on every play here. Their shape is a lot better than it was in the first half. They don't seem frazzled like they did in the first half. And if anything, that shoe's gone on to OKR's feet.
Clark has been doing that all his career, just gobbling up the meters on the back of defensive lines. Delaney playing like a man possessed in this second half. Really bulleting in. Wellesby, they've got him wrapped up. Clark to Lomax, now Bell. It's just real intent every time he takes the ball, and a penalty goes against St. Helens, and for OKR that will be some relief.
Oh, it certainly is. Look, it's one of those times where you don't realise you still feel like you're still live. But as we could see there, his right elbow touches the ground just there, and that means the tackle's been affected. Referee called the tackle, he still got the pass away. It's a penalty. Now Saints need to condense their defence up, get forward in numbers, play against OKR, put pressure on them like OKR were doing in the first half to them. OKR need to get back into the game. They need to get some purchase. They need to start getting their noses through like they were in the first half, getting quick play the balls. Jez Litton probably needs to jump out acting half a couple of times just to put some stress in the middle of their defence so St. Helens defenders don't slide off too well.
Oh, they got to play the ball wrong. Did Hull Kingston Rovers. And St. Helens get a reprieve just as they were moving through the gears.
And we were talking about momentum, right? And just here, we were talking also about Jez Litton jumping down to acting half. You understand that he's got a role to play here. But when it's momentum, not only does everyone in your team start to get in behind you, everybody starts turning up in the right places, but you will also get a few calls yourself. You know, I've seen play the balls like that where the defenders, the markers, have actually been penalised for pulling the defender down and not allowing a player like Elliot Minchella there to get a clean play the ball away. So everything seems to turn in your direction.
Well, they're moving forward with purpose. Shane Wright, St. Helens jagged the first score in the second half, and it has fueled their belief. Morgan Knowles stopped in his tracks. Clark just pinching a few extra meters there for St. Helens. Desperate for a return to Old Trafford. They made it their home almost. Oh, lovely ball. Finds Dion Cross. The missed pass hit its target. And Saints romp forward again. Wellesby. Good chase for Robertson. Oh, great take. Just didn't have the momentum to prize his way through, but another warning shot fired by St. Helens.
Oh, 100%. And look, Tyrone May there, he played smart. There's an argument to say that actually he took Robinson in the air. And I think that's why we're seeing a couple of replays. But Tyrone May was smart enough there just to see who was coming down. Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to do that. But sometimes you get away with them, right? That could be a game changer. That could be the key moment.
Now it's St. Helens making OKR run the gauntlet as they come away from their own end of the field. The crowd are trying to bring them on. A penalty against St. Helens. Suddenly the pressure valve is released again.
Oh, that couldn't have come at a better time for OKR. Look, you can see Elliot Minchella, their captain, just pulling in all the spine of the team, just saying, all right, we need to just calm this down. Everything about this is St. Helens at the moment. We need to get back to what we do really well, and what that is finishing our sets, getting our line down there and putting pressure back on Saints. They're going to push passes, they're going to have to because they're chasing the game, but we need to do it on our tempo.
Mikey Lewis gets his side a penalty. They were hunting him, and they just strayed over that line of acceptability. James Bell again, who plays on the edge, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. He plays with a lot of energy. As you can see here, he comes out of the line and tackles Hadley without the ball. And that's what the penalty's been given for. Mikey Lewis saw that happening. He saw it unfolding. That's why he sold the dummy and took the play.
Yeah, Dean Hadley, no histrionics, by the way. He just got him.
Had to take one for the team. A little bit of a rib tickler there. He was blindsided as well, watching Mikey Lewis.
That kick.
But again, once again, look, 2 penalties back to back. They've been able to progress the ball 40 metres down the field free of charge. These are the little things that St. Helens need to stop if they're going to get themselves well and truly back into this game and another try on the scoreboard.
It's a hackneyed phrase, but penalty, try is often how it goes. There goes Lynn. And this time he leaves James Bell on his knees. He sank. Such was the contact there from Jez Lynn. It was full on.
Yeah, I think Jez Lynn was playing for a penalty there. James Bell just not getting clean at marker, but the referee was having none of it. Said, no, this is a great game. Keep the game flowing.
Lytton finds May. So often the magician at these times for Hull KR. Rhys Martin tackle. Last one in the set. And what a whack there with the Papua New Guinea international. And play has been halted. Shane Wright, the player who made the tackle, and Martin being checked over.
Yeah, I think they'll take a little peek at this one to see if there was any head contact. I think that's what Rhys Martin is playing for there. He seems to be okay.
Well, he got the thumbs up at least, but here we go.
No, actually, I don't think there was much in the contact up top. I think when Rhys Martin comes down, he just catches his head on Shane Wright's knee. That's where the contacts come in. Yeah, it's a reach up top, but it's nothing malicious. Penalty sufficient. So it just reaches up top, but the real damage is made as he's come back down. On the way he's falling down, he's just caught his head on the knee.
Shane Wright shaking his head. He might change his mind when he sees the replay later. But thankfully, for all parties concerned, Rhys Martin okay. And while St Helens are almost turning to 3rd and 4th choice kickers, Hull KR have a glut of players who could take that baton up. So Liam Moore says Shane Wright is due a talking to. He's going to be sat outside the headmaster's office proverbially.
He will be. And you don't want to give this guy, look, he's been one of the top goal kickers in the Super League for probably the last half decade. Given the opportunity, he'll stick it through the sticks. And then the challenge becomes you need to score twice. 8 points difference on the scoreboard.
Yeah, Rhys Martin. He was so close to that world record back in 2022. He just missed out. And his kick does not have the accuracy.
And that was way off too, but that tells you how hard it is to kick into this wind. We're still enjoying being a funny, in inverted commas, the 41 miles an hour wind at this point in time. We'll see how far this kick goes.
Well, Neil Hudgell there was just on the screen, and who would be a man at the helm of a rugby league club, because he's feeling every possible emotion. Eamon McManus likewise, from the St Helens perspective.
I think they've both got greyer throughout this 55 minutes of this game.
Jez Lynn gets that ball away, and the big Kiwi, the grizzled front rower, that is Jared Warrior-Hargreaves, has coughed up the ball.
Captain's challenge.
But as you say, they're quick to contest this, and so Liam Moore, Jack Smith will take a look.
Challenge in the on-field decision of a knock-on.
Well done. Tackle 3, Hull KR are challenging the ruling of a knock-on. Tackle's complete at this point, he's got a good grip on the ball. Let's go back on the same angle, please. Warrior-Hargreaves got a firm grip on the ball. Walmsley's coming out of the tackle, but takes his hand across the ball and takes the ball out. Warrior-Hargreaves will be in strong possession of this ball, so the challenge will be successful for Hull KR. It's ruck interference.
So there we go, explained nicely by Jack Smith and Alex Walmsley's overzealous efforts give Hull KR a penalty, which Mikey Lewis, if he can club it there, will find touch with, and this set now starts in a decent position.
You're saying Helens just guilty a little bit of allowing Hull KR to come back into this game, get some momentum back in their direction. Just a little bit of ill-discipline in a couple of their tackles in the last couple of sets.
So Dean Hadley making the yardage. Litton slaps his thighs as if to say, let's crack on with this. And the Robins, who still have that lead, despite Saints' improved third quarter of the game. Menchella pushing pieces around like a general on a war map. May. Warrior-Hargreaves has another tangle. Last tackle, 15 out. Lewis will send this one to the corner. Burgess is after it. So is Gildart. May. They're still going here. KR. And in the end, Mikey Lewis is foiled, but Saints are going to have to play from right on their own goal line nearly here.
Oh, certainly. Look, it's so weird to watch the ball. Look, there, St. Helens players could see the ball coming at them. They were sat underneath it. Then the ball just started drifting away from them. It's a real advantage for an attacking team if they can get down into, or if Hull KR can get down into St. Helens 10-metre line and just put that crossfield kick. The kick is not following the normal trajectory as it should do. And this way they can start the sets where they want to start them. Big defense, squeeze their line up and do exactly what they're doing to Saints right now, making them push out of their own 10-metre line.
Darryl Clark trying to break the cycle and turn Saints' fortunes around, but contained that time. Mbai onto Welsby, playing at pace. Robertson. Really smart tackle from Tyrone May. Welsby to Mbai. Lomax, they were a bit upstream on that far side in the shape of Dion Cross, so can't really contest the ball. Burgess brings it back for Hull KR.
And that's one of the disadvantages you have when you move a ball late in the set. You move it out to the sideline, that means that there's only going to a couple of players. And then your defense can get up and put pressure on the kicker. They're having to kick from deep. They don't get a clean kick away because you've got guys running out at you. And that way, Hull KR can then start the set in good position. Sometimes you just need to bite the bullet, just take 4 shots in so you can get a decent kick away and play the opposition down in the part of the field that pays more dividends to you.
Litton jumping from dummy half. In fact, he played short to Minchella. I thought he was off, but he didn't. He calmed it down, he toned it down. Martin sets the point. Lewis on that left side. Got some pressure. Big kick into backfield. Lewis limps away from his latest confrontation with Morgan Knowles, who's got a big target on Lewis's back. And now it's Saints' turn to drown in their own end.
Yeah, this has been one of the features of Hull KR's success this year, and that has been their 20-meter defense. It's a defensive system that's very offensive in nature. It is get your numbers together, get aggressive, get forward, put numbers in the tackle, control the speed of the play of the ball, let our line get set, and then we can get forward and start the process again.
Well, Saints really trying to shift the ball, little tip-ons to try and catch Hull Kingston Rovers off guard, but they're down to the last tackle and they're only 30 out from their own post. It's a kick which will carry through to Davis. Hull KR's weapon in backfield. And Wigan will be watching on as these two teams rough each other up and thinking, well, we've got the extra day. And they'll be more than happy to see this one go the distance, Robbie. Although dissent here from Petter Hiku has really cost Hull KR. They're in a position to make something. They've turned it over. And then they've conceded another 10 metres.
Yeah, that'll be disappointing. Willie Peters won't be happy with that. He's having a word. Referees don't like that. It's not in the game of rugby league. He's experienced enough to know better. You get frustrated. Look, at the end of the day, we're only human. And these guys will get frustrated and things will... Sometimes it's hard to stop what's coming out of your mouth, but that's the rules of the game that we play. You don't want to give St Helens the opportunity to get some momentum. You got back into the arm wrestle. Saints are going to have their say now. Every team always has a say. There's still only 6 points in it.
Just less than quarter of the game to go, sorry. Morgan Knowles, best foot forward. Mbai, oh, what a shot. And at the back of it, Petter Hiku with some choice words for Jack Wellesby. Meanwhile, Hull Kingston Rovers still playing.
Well, that's right. Petter Hiku reads the play. See Wellesby coming out. Absolutely runs into him. Look, that's making up to your teammates. I know I gave the penalty away. I know I gave them an extra 10 metres. I'm going to come up with the big play, and that was it.
Ollie Gildart trying to pick his way through. Some rather monstrous figures in this Saints side. This land of the giants in places, not more so than Walmsley, but it was just bypassed there by Jez Litton. Got a quick jump. May. Oh, I think he wanted the big ball wide, but he was smothered by Siranen. Still Tyrone May. Last tackle, Hull KR. Shape on the left. Lewis. Burgess goes chasing. Great hand from Gildart! Did it go backwards? If it did, Oliver Gildart might just have taken Hull KR back to Old Trafford. But we're not sure yet. Liam Moore stops the clock. Try on field decision over to Jack Smith.
Obviously on the kick chest.
Tackle 5, got try and field. Check the potential knock-on. Comes from a kick. So it's going to be Paul's ball on foot, please, Michael Lewis. Paul's on the foot. All Hull KR's kick chase from both feet behind the ball, so we're clear now to run this through to the contest. Everybody's onside. This is a fair contest. And that appears to be backwards from Burgess. Have we got any other angles? This one slow, please. Stay on this angle, please. Can we go back to this one, please? Check the hands of the player. Go here now. Toward that ball. It's Burgess's hands, and it always appears backwards. Have we got anything from the other side to confirm that, please? This one might be our best one. Right, that is always back from Burgess. I'm happy I've cleared this bit now. It's onto the pick-up. Have we got one where we've got a possibility of a clean pick-up, please, on Gildart? So I'm happy with this bit. haven't touched that ball at that point, and that is clean from Gildart. We now need something close in for the grounding and the touchline, please. Gildart is in possession on his feet in the field. Still in possession, slow at the point of the ball grounded. And the ball is grounded as in the field. Made that decision.
There is an anticipation about Craven Park. They know what's coming. They know it. Try for Oliver Gildart. Try for Hokea. Old Trafford is well within their grasp now. And back-to-back grand final appearances from here. You back them to get it done. Saints will have their say, but Oliver Gildart with a crucial try, maybe a game-breaking try.
Really great composure there by Mikey Lewis. Torren Mayer come back on the inside. He had made a half break, not overplaying, not thinking overplay. Mikey Lewis was just setting up. He understands what the wind's doing to the ball. He thought, oh, you know what, we'll just put the ball up into that corner. We come up with it, we do, that's great. We score a try on the back of it. If not, we start another defensive set there and we start to put the pressure back on this St. Helens. Push them, make them run out. Good composure. Joe Burgess in the air, getting the ball back. Oliver Gildart in the right place. All of the whole KR players just nicely cupped around the ball. No matter where the ball was going, there was a whole KR player there. Oliver Gildart in the right place, the right man at the right time. Try scored in the left-hand corner. Well, this will make it a tough kick, though.
Yeah, it was right out on the sideline. Reece Martin. Can he find his range? In the swirl! No, he can't. So just over quarter of an hour to play. 10 points the margin. Is it enough for KR to steer themselves on their passage to a treble? Or will Saints yet again have the final say?
Saints will get something in this final 15 minutes. There'll be something. We don't know if it will be the same dramatics as what we got last week. They brought Matty Lees back on. He's not had any more children. He's come back onto the field. It's time to do that job again where he just tackles big and runs big.
Yep, Sienna Rose, he will be hoping is a lucky charm. Her entrance into the world coinciding with Saints' progression to the semi-finals of the Super League playoffs in 2025. Lytton onto Weria Hargreaves, who's eking the most out of his final moments as a professional rugby league player. Minchella, so often at the heart of what is good about Hull KR. He's had a tempestuous route from Leeds to London to Sheffield to Bradford to glory as captain of Hull KR. Here comes Saints. Dion Cross already made this game interesting, but Hull KR seem to have rediscovered some poise at exactly the right time, Robbie.
Well, they certainly have. They can smell it. They know that Old Trafford is only 14 minutes away. They know what it takes. They know that they're going to have to dig deep. From 1 to 13 players that they have out there on the field, they're going to need to hold their discipline. They're going to need to not give St. Helens absolutely anything. And if anything, to put the pressure back on St. Helens. That means every man, every single position, doing their job and going above and beyond.
Well, you can't fault Saints. They're trying to mix things up. Curtis Sirenen got barreled there by Elliot Minchella. He was the fourth man in, and he felt that one. And by hoisting. And Tristan Saylor came up with the ball, but it wasn't enough to keep the set alive. And Hull Kingston Rovers watch that clock tick down ever closer
Absolutely brilliant athleticism there by Tristan Saylor, but you're at that point now when you put a high field bomb up at that part of the field, because there's so many defenders around you, you're almost better off not catching it on the full, but actually just tapping it back and seeing, come what may, seeing if you can come up with a special play, or you can get some numbers, get the ball back and, you know, take on the line when it's fractured.
It's ramped up by Reece Martin. Hull KR, Willie Peters. He still wouldn't afford himself a real smile. Mork, oh, the offload was on. Saints get the ball back. Moses Mbai trying to keep that alive. Wellesby runs himself back into the traffic.
Yeah, this is the really nervous time for Hull KR. For the next sort of 6 to 8 minutes, this is where it becomes really nervy. You've got to make sure that you get your lines just so solid. This is the time where Saints' adrenaline starts to pump. They start to understand they've got to push passes. They've got to try their hand. They've got to make sure that they maintain their shape. Everybody starts moving forward. If we thought they were looking good before, this is where they'll start to turn the notch up a couple of times. Look, they've got that experience. They know what needs to happen at this point in time. We saw it last week against Leeds. Probably not overplaying like that with overpassing.
Oh, James Batchelor, ankle tap. Just about stopped him. He had a hell of a way to go and an awful lot of blue shirts to bypass to get there, but Curtis Sirenen unable to retain possession. Litton gets it onto Jack Broadbent, hero in the Challenge Cup. Probably harsh they left out tonight, but Gildart and Hiku are the obvious first choices. Mikey Lewis almost squeezing through a gap there. Here goes Gildart. Penalty here for Hull Kingston Rovers. Well, this is an obvious one, isn't it? I'm surprised the twos aren't being held up already.
Yeah. Look, with a kicker the quality of Reece Martin, and albeit he's missed the last two from this side of the field, they're not. They're going to run it.
Yeah, who says obvious?
Every day of the week, I would have thought he would have a... You know, with two misses, you would think, well, you get your range by that point. With that quality of kicker, I know when I used to play with my older brother and he was a goal kicker, he would have just taken the ball off me, even though I was captain.
Well, they obviously feel that this wind is causing enough problems that they're better off putting it up the jumper and having a crack. That's what they're going to do. So Aso Su heaves those legs under pressure from those in Saints colours. They're so close to the line. May delays the pass. Oh, brilliant! Brilliant for Gildart. It was a tunnel ball which just caught Saints out completely, and they just couldn't quite execute. Tyrone May again. All the shape lining up right hand side. Minchella back with Hadley though. Into the guts. Less than 10 to go. Litton now to May. Bites in. Oh, lovely hands for Gildart to wrap it up for Hull KR. Oliver Gildart has done it surely now. Hull KR can get the tickets booked. Old Trafford beckons. So does redemption. So does a possible treble.
Once again, down that left-hand side, Hull KR being just absolutely devastating. We saw it 2 plays earlier where they created that overlap with lead runners coming through, holding the slide defence. But in 2 plays earlier, St Helens scrambling defence saved it for them. But not this time. Once again, holding defence. It's Holden Johnny Lomax there. Oliver Gildart gets the overlap. The sliding defence, it's scrambling defence, just over scramble in this point. He comes back, he sees the space on the inside, spins and twists in the tackle, gets his nose over and plants that ball down. Off to the grand final we go.
He will sew that up. An injury affected campaign, but he's back at the right time. a veteran of Wigan's successes, and he can take it to his old club at Old Trafford next Saturday in the grand final. Saints shoulders slump. Archer Morg sat on the bench. He caught one there, didn't he, from Tristan Saylor?
I think it was Morgan Knowles just coming through, just numbers in there. Again, no malice in there, just wrong place at the wrong time, and that's what you get with contact sport. But look, to take nothing away from the game that Holkar played today, absolutely brilliant. People were talking about how tired they look at the end of the season and what impact their week off will have. Well, I tell you what, they've been back to their best today. Very patient, great campaign all throughout this 80 minutes.
Reece Martin, when it's not your day, it's not your day, and it just hoofs that ball away in frustration. But for Oliver Gildart, it certainly is his day. Brilliant assist. And 2 magnificent tries. So for Jared Warrior-Hargreaves on the left of your picture, the adventure continues. Yeah, he got belted by Knowles, didn't he? I thought it was the first contact initially, but it's the hobble away from him. Burgess to put the icing on the cake. Robertson scrambles. Holkar finishing it in now. Or will they? They just need to check. But Burgess waited for no whistle. Playing. Potential scoring. Jack Smith will take a look at this one.
Zero tackle, we've got a try, we're checking for a potential escort. Plays the catch. It's a wide angle, Holkar players. Right, let's go, we've got something tight in on this, please. There appears to be lateral movement, let's see any possible collision. Right, yeah, go back please, this same angle. Reece Martin has to move a straight line back towards the ball. He moves laterally across the pitch and into Lomax, which prevents Lomax from making a catch on the ball. Thank you, I made my decision.
So further celebrations to be quelled. It doesn't go down well, but it was probably a fair call.
I tell you what, those are tries you dream about. And I tell you what, Mum, I'm going to jump up in the air, I'm going to catch the ball, it's going to be two-handed above my head, and then I'm going to sidestep and I'm going to go the length of the field to secure our place in the grand final. No. Got to run a straight line. You've got to go straight back at the ball. Video ref deemed that he's crossed over Johnny Lomax. Reece Martin knocked him out of the way, not giving him a fair chance to not only go for the ball but also make the tackle on Joe Burgess himself. So yeah, understandable. Is there enough time now? 6 minutes.
Well, they're going to chance it, aren't they? And by Lomax felled. Tyrone May that time had the Igor at marker. Sirinen gets the offload out. Wellsby, Morgan Knowles. Saints' career will end here for now. After the NRL with the Dolphins, Alex Wormsley stomping, not a relenting. And by, oh, lovely ball for Robertson! Robertson keeps it alive just, or does he? Well, Liam Moore will check this one out. Trial field decision. So Jack Smith will take a look at this.
Tackle for try on field, checking obstruction please. We got the high behind. Let's go slow as each lead runner goes through, please. So it's Sirinen. Right, go back on this, please. Let's just check. It's the line of Sirinen. Sirinen's running inside shoulder line, which is what we would want him to do in this situation. Let's go now, please. Sirinen's running inside shoulder line. It's a defensive decision by Hiku. And Mosenberg does not run behind his own man. He passes the ball first. So this is all okay to this point. Tight on grounding, please. He's in possession at this point. It's a fair challenge. Still in possession. And the ball's grounded. Made my decision.
St Helens couldn't possibly do it again, could they? They are taking this to the wire.
Can we dare to dream once again?
2010, kick to come, 8 behind at that point. If they can land this from Lomax, it's a long way out, left-hand side. Certainly no gimme. Thrust into kicking duties tonight. It's good. 8 points.
There's time.
5 minutes for parity.
There's time. You know, I was going to talk about how strong Hokia's right-hand defense is tonight. Torren May, Peter Hiku, they have both been, the communication's been so solid. At different times, each player jumping upstream, just shutting down everything St Helens are throwing at him. There you can see Peter Hiku just getting too far upstream. That creates the corrugated iron defensive system, which creates space either side of Peter Hiku, and that's all Saints said. Got him behind one of those spaces.
Regardless of what happens tonight, Harry Robertson is bound for a tremendous future, that's for sure. Real talent, Widner's born, fullback, come centre, come all manner of positions. What a player to have in your arsenal, 19 years of age. And now, Willie Peters, to be fair, hasn't cracked a smile all night. He will wait until that hooter sounds, then he can celebrate. As it stands. Saints, though, it's an old adage, it's a banner at the stadium, never write off the Saints. Hokia looking to just quash that fight back in these last 4 minutes. Clark finds Bell, now Mbai, double pump, treble pump, still going. His Saints career comes to an end once their season comes to an end. Wellsby, oh, he got on the outside of his man, Robertson. That rubber leg running we saw, and it's pitched back by Hull Kingston Rovers. When it gets desperate, Saints had to play, but Hokia kept their cool.
Oh, they certainly did. The numbers just, they held their line. They kept it smooth. They got their numbers right. They didn't panic. We've seen panic in the last sort of 7 days. What can happen to a defensive line if you start to panic? They didn't panic, and that's been a bit of a telltale sign of their entire 80 minutes that Hokia played in this game. They've played really well structured. They've not overplayed too often. And when the goings got tough, they've been able to just get together and just come up with some simple plays and keep it tight.
Ali Mantrella muscled out of it that time, and he kept hold of the ball. Lewis needs to find the right kick. Mbai takes the sting out of it. Saylor whips it towards Wellsby. The kick is on. Cross. Heron after it. Is it Dion Cross? It is Dion Cross. And he got there ahead of Burgess, but he did just enough. 2.5 to go. Saints need 2 scores. Bell, Clark. This is where, in their desperation, Saints suddenly become a menace. It's unpredictable chaos. They don't run regular plays. You know, that's certainly not a regular play, but it might be a chance here for Hokia. Broadbent, hold it down.
That wasn't the play. That wasn't the play at all. Obviously it didn't come off, but it wasn't the play anyway. They had their whole right side set. Paul Wellens will be pulling out his hair.
So now for Hull KR, it is a case of don't lose it from here. Broadband allowed to go, still allowed to go. Bell cuts him down. Litton de Hiku just dragging that clock down. It will feel like an hourglass set in stone. But they are closer now and closer, drilled into touch by Hull KR. St Helens, even they must feel now that Hull KR have this sewn up.
Well, in rugby league, we look at it and it takes about a minute to complete a set. There's a minute left in this game and Saints need to score twice.
Darryl Clark hovers at dummy half, gets it onto Knowles, out to Lomax, short ball, it bounces loose. That is Saints season. Hull KR can turn their sights to Old Trafford, but they will have
this will be the slowest scrum setup you've ever seen in the history of rugby league. Everyone slowly walking to the scrum. We've got 26 seconds left on the clock. It's still not formed. They're just letting it play out. The shot clock is running at the same time. So they don't have to form a scrum until the shot clock is in place. If I was Hull KR, I wouldn't set it at all.
So the clock ticks down and Saints spoil the party by forming the scrum. So we'll have to wait for the scrum to be played. But they are celebrating in the Hull KR box. Willie Peters has turned this club from a team that hoped to maybe be in the chance of the playoffs to one which is in genuine pursuit of silverware. Cheslin will thump the ball to touch into the east stand and they will celebrate back-to-back grand finals for Hull KR. The treble is on. St Helens' brave campaign comes to an end, but it's all about Hull KR. They will face Wigan again, Robbie Hunter-Paul. Memories of last year's final will be so fresh in their minds, but with the Challenge Cup and a League Leaders Shield already in their possession, this is a different beast, Hull KR in 2025.
Oh, it certainly is. Look, I've got to say first, I'll take my hat off to both teams. St Helens, you did yourself proud. You did it. You turned up and you played a game worthy of a Super League semi-final. But Hull KR, I'll take my hat off to you 100%. You stuck to your game. You played it. You didn't look tired like you did in the final 3 games of the season. That week off, recharge your batteries psychologically as well as physically. You look up for the challenge, and you know what? If you're going to win the Super League, why not do it? Why not do it by winning all 3 trophies that year as well? Very few clubs have done exactly that. This will be something that's firmly in their mind's eye.
Hull KR then are heading back to Old Trafford. They are in the Super League Grand Final for 2025. They got the job done against St Helens and they are back to back in Grand Finals.
Yes, as that gentleman said, the treble is still on for Hull KR. They will take on Wigan in the grand final, and you can hear it live on BBC Sounds. We will have highlights on BBC 2, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Kevin Brown, Mike McMeekin watching that, and the best team won.
Yeah, the best team won. I think Elliot Vincella and his team will probably be a little bit worried that they weren't further in front at half-time, and Elliot's just joined us now. Was you a little bit feeling that you should have scored more points in the first half?
No, we had a lot of respect for Saints. You know, they're one of the best defensive teams in the comp, and they turn up for each other. You know, they showed that last week. They deal with adversity really well, so we were confident in our process. But you know, we had full respect for Saints, and that probably showed at the end. You know, that we knew they were going to have their say within the game. We just had to stay focused, but we didn't do that at the start of the second half. But we quickly turned that and rectified it, and then got over the line. So we're pleased.
We talked to Willie Peters before the match about the week off that you had. How important was was that to just refresh you all mentally as much as anything to go again for this 2 weeks?
Yeah, well, everybody kept telling us we were tired, so there must have been something in that. But yeah, look, we were pretty ugly at the end of the season. Mike's Wakefield did a job on us, and then we made hard work in the last game of the year, so probably did need a week off, to be honest. And we had a bit of time away from the club, but yeah, I thought it was all right tonight. Probably could have been better, but we're just happy that we got his name in the final. We're going to Old Trafford.
And are you getting used now to these big games? Over the last couple of seasons, you've had a lot of them.
Yeah, I guess that's what the club's building, and it's great to be a part of. And yeah, obviously we're there 12 months ago, and we came up on the losing side, and obviously want to right some wrongs from last year. We've had a pretty good year so far, but next week's a big one, and we're playing against a quality outfit and an awesome club, so it should be a great week, and we're going to enjoy it. But yeah, we want to win.
Elliot, you said you went there last 12 months ago. What have you learned, and what will you do different this time to beat Wigan?
Well, look, I watched the game last night and they were outstanding. I think Wigan are really good at staying in the game, and then they win the moments. They've got quality players from 1 to 17. Bevan French, outstanding. What can I say about him? Everybody knows what he's going to do, but how do you stop him? So, they're quality outfit. I've got massive respect for them, and but we'll try and throw our punches at them, and hopefully it should be a good game. And obviously we want to win, so we want to complete the treble.
Yeah, obviously congratulations. Awesome result. How much are you looking forward to this week coming up?
Yeah, massive. These are the games that you want to be involved in. Obviously, as a kid, I used to go and watch grand finals as a kid, and to get a chance to play there again next week, I don't take it for granted, especially for my career. It's been a bit of a journey, so these weeks to really enjoy it and just take it all in. But it's not about enjoying it; it's about winning them, innit? So unfortunately, didn't win last year, but I want to win next week.
And how much did you learn from doing that week last week? Because it's not something you're used to. It's a big week, isn't it, the build-up?
Yeah, we have to get the balance right between having too much time off and training, and really make sure that we train hard, and that's what we believe in. So training looked pretty similar than what it normally does. Obviously mentally you didn't have the high of the game, so I think we've got the balance pretty good, but yeah, it's 1 more week to go.
Congratulations, we will see you at Old Trafford. Well done, Elliot. Well, let's get over to JJ Chalmers, who's with Paul Helens.
Paul, your initial thoughts after that match?
It's obviously hugely disappointing that we lost a big game, and congratulations to the opposition. They were the better team on the night. I think when you reflect on the game as a whole, in the first 40 minutes they had a real stranglehold on us and didn't let go of that. And at the start of the second half we had a stranglehold on them and we let go. And that pretty much sums up the game.
How did you feel at the start of that second half, seeing whatever you'd said to them at half-time really paying off? They came out absolutely fighting.
Yeah, it was great to see, and a lot of the stuff that we spoke about at half-time, the lads put into action, but then we went, give a penalty away, or pass the ball off the floor when the guy was tackled, different things like that just put us again under unnecessary pressure, and you can't afford to do that when you come to a place like this.
But they did fight to the very end.
They do. I knew they would. One thing that you can't label this team as a team that go away. They've shown that for a good number of weeks now. So, on one sense, I'm really proud, but on the other hand, and I speak for everybody, the players as well, we're usually disappointed.
Big off-season coming. What can you tell us about your future at the club?
Not a lot at this stage, and it's important probably don't get caught up in that right now. What I want to do is obviously sit down with the players and have a discussion. We've got a number of players, I'll forget myself, a number of players who've been at the club a long time who are moving on at the end of the year, so it's important that we send them off in the right way.
Brilliant. Well, you go and do that. Thanks for talking to us.
My pleasure, thank you.
Well, we grabbed hold of Mikey Lewis, who was celebrating with the fans. It's special times, this, isn't it, between you, the fans, the team?
Yeah, it's very special. Having this full packed crowd, the atmosphere was unreal tonight. Both teams was turned up to play, and we're going to the big dance again.
And we were just saying to Elliot Vincella, having done this week that is coming up for you before, how much did you learn from that?
Yeah, massive. Last year with his moments in that game, and Wigan, in that bit of Wigan was in that moment, and we're going to be ready. It's going to be, pretty light this session. Enjoy the week and build up, and we'll see where it takes us.
Mikey, individually, you must be really happy with the year. You've won the league leaders, you've won the Challenge Cup, now you're in the grand final, and you've got a 5-year deal. How's this year gone for you?
Yeah, fantastic. It's been a roller coaster year, but self off the field, having a little roamy. I feel like I've grown in a person throughout the year, and it's really paid dividends on the field. And we won 2 trophies, and we want to just keep chasing that feeling, because it's the best feeling in the world, winning trophies. And we're just going to prepare well next week, recover, and go again next Saturday.
And then, obviously, like you say, you were there last year. What do you reckon this team's learned from last year?
Just to play in big games, they're not high-score games, and it's about them moments and winning them moments. And Wigan are good at that, and we've learned a lot from that. Willie really pushed on that in pre-season last year, and I feel like it's going to pay dividends in this Saturday game, and we'll just play how we are, and we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah, Kev left off on your list of the achievements becoming a dad, and how much does it mean to you, all these memories that you're creating that he can look back on?
Yeah, I really, you don't think about it when you're playing. He's still no next to me, you don't really think about it. Having kids, having good achievements, and it's not until you retire, and I've got a long way. I've got a good 12, 13 years left of my career, and I really reflect in the off-season. Hopefully I'll get in that England squad, and when I'm sat on the beach somewhere in the sun, I'll reflect on this year and see how good it's been.
Mikey, thank you so much for joining us. Go and enjoy the rest of the celebrations. We'll see you next week at Old Trafford. Let's get back to JJ, who's with Ollie Gildart.
Ollie, you just said to me you're absolutely buzzing. Try and put it into some more words than just that.
I can't, mate. I'm just so happy for the group. A few people wrote us off coming into this semi-final, and we've got it done now. Obviously, there's one big one to go. Against Wigan. So I can't wait to get out there.
It's to have a match like that and to walk away with a player of the match performance. I mean, that's an absolute dream, isn't it?
It is, mate. Obviously, like I said, I've been injured for a large part of the season, and I just wanted to get back out there and do my best for the club. I think I was okay tonight, and I'm just so happy that we won and we got what we deserve, get to Old Trafford.
Like you said, some people might have doubted that performance coming into it, but there was absolutely no doubt. Incredible attack, and your defence was almost like an attack tonight.
Yeah, it was. That's something we pride ourselves on, was our defence, and we've probably been a bit off the last few weeks with that. So big focus was going into the first half, and I thought it was back to the best Hull KR we've been all year, and I think it showed in the first 40.
Obviously, you're just in a moment right now. Can you begin to think ahead and to what is coming up?
Oh, look, I think we've got to enjoy tonight. Semi-finals are not easy to win, so we'll dust ourselves off, have a few days rest, and then we've got the big one next week, so can't wait.
Oh, brilliant. Well, we cannot wait as well. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, mate. Cheers, pal.
He had quite a game, didn't he, Ollie Gildart? Jack Broadbent's played extremely well in the centres. You've got to up your game just to keep him out.
Absolutely. I thought the left edge for Hull KR were magnificent. Joe Burgess and Oliver Gildart, 2 lads who came through at Wigan. They'll be looking to be Wigan's downfall next week. I thought they were both terrific, and defensively as well. JJ mentioned they were attacking them defensively and almost frustrating them into coming up with errors. I thought the left edge in particular were a real strength for Hull KR.
Was St Helens, though, the masters of their own downfall a little bit in terms of, they started the second half so well with that try, but then there were errors, there was decision making that just seemed awry.
Yeah, I think Hull KR played an outstanding game. I think from start to finish, I think they controlled the game really well. I think Saints, looking back on the game, will be kicking themselves. The completion was way down to what their usual standards is, and in semi-final rugby, that's going to be a big difference.
Yeah, I don't think Saints have played that poor with the ball and without the ball, really. In the second half, when it was 12-6, I think they gave 4 or 5 piggybacks where it was just, look at this one, this is just an absolute brain explosion from James Bell. We want him to go hard, and I'm sure Saints want him to go hard, but not like that. Then Shane Wright goes over the top and gives Reece Martin a kick at goal, and it just compounded so many difficult positions for Saints against a very good Hull KR side, when they looked a little bit rattled after half-time, because we mentioned at half-time that they were so far the better side, but they just couldn't put them to bed. But then Saints, I thought this one was a little bit unlucky. There's too much sticky tape on his hand, Alex Walmsley there. But yeah, so frustrating for Saints that they gave so many positions away for Willie Peters and his team.
Willie Peters has joined us. Congratulations, you're off to Old Trafford again.
Yeah, can't wait. Yeah, I just heard you guys talking around that second half, and yeah, it wasn't pretty. First half, really happy with how we sort of suffocated the opposition, and we just denied our moments. But yeah, really looking forward to the week ahead, and the players deserve it. So yeah, can't wait.
Just talking to Elliot and to Mikey about what they learnt about this week building up to the grand final. I guess it's a learning curve for all of you, wasn't it, last year?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we've been in Challenge Cup losses and a grand final loss, and you always get your best learnings when you lose. So, you know, we've learned a lot, but it's going to come on the field. It's going to come down to moments, and we need to improve that because we didn't ice those tonight.
Was winning the Challenge Cup, though, was that something you kind of needed to do? You needed to get over the line and get that first trophy?
Certainly, yeah, we did. And then obviously the league leaders. So, you know, we've got an opportunity to go after 3 trophies, the treble, and we're not going to shy away from it. We've got to go after it and lean into that. So it's going to be obviously a great challenge against a champion side, and but we're looking forward to it, and we'll see how it goes.
What will the chat be this week? Will it be revenge or trying to right wrongs from last year, or just a completely different OKR side?
I just got asked that. I think revenge, if you look at revenge, you worry too much about opposition, where we'll always go in sort of focused on us, but certainly we need to look at what Wigan's going to bring. But if you worry too much about them, there's so much that they bring. So we'll narrow the focus and we'll worry about us.
Is there anything in particular that you've already, or I know how you can think sometimes, but already thinking about next week in terms of players to watch or tactics that they might come after you with? Yeah,
look, I think you have to look at last night's game. They were happy to be on the back foot, and they were comfortable, and then as soon as they had an opportunity, they iced it, and that's the big difference between, I think, Wigan and other teams in the competition. So, tonight we had our opportunities and we didn't, so we've got a week to work on, different things that we think we can improve on. But yeah, you always look at opposition teams, so we wanted to get through tonight and make sure we're there first, and now we're there, we'll certainly focus on them.
And how did you get through injury, Rise? Arthur Moore looked like he took a knock to his knee. Is he going to feature next week, or is it a bit too early?
Yeah, I'll see how he goes. I think he'll be okay, mate. Yeah, he'll be okay. Yep.
Nothing like build up to a grand final to heal the wounds, I'm guessing. Yeah. What did you personally learn, do you think, from last year that you might do differently this week?
We didn't actually go to the ground the day before. A couple of players felt that they didn't want to do that, and I like listening to players on different things, but I learnt that. So this year I made some decisions around the Challenge Cup that I thought was best for the team, and we'll look to do that this year. Just in and around little things around that, getting a feel for the place. Look, I think some guys that weren't there got a bit carried away. They're turning up the next day and taking the photos where that should happen beforehand or it happens afterwards. So they're learnings, and that's on me. So certainly there'll be a few things I'll look at myself this week and go, okay, what could I have done better, and then what could we have done better as a club.
Willie, many congratulations for getting there. We will see you at Old Trafford.
Thank you.
Next week. Thanks ever so much for joining us. We haven't got long, so I'm going to give you a quick one. Who's going to win the grand final?
Oh, I don't know. Rugby League's the winner, Tanya. This is going to be an epic. Two teams. We've got the best teams in the competition. Yeah. Both going at it, both in form, all the best players playing. I can't wait. I've no idea.
Are you going to give me a bit of a hint?
No, I'm on the fence as well. I think 2 best teams in the league. They've been, they're rightfully in the grand final, and let's just hope for a great game.
What are we paying you for? Yeah, come on, Kev, you should know better. You're one of our regulars.
I normally get it wrong.
Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your company. That is as far as we go this evening. Our live rugby league is finished. Until we get to the Ashes, we'll have highlights of the grand final next week. Our next live game will be England against Australia.
What better than the old foes, Australia against England? It begins with a bang.
Australia and their usual green and gold. England expect that we've been here before.
Gerena, he's in at the corner! I don't think anybody's going to catch it. Oh, terrific punch up here.
Hello, there's no need for that.
England are hoping to win a series against Australia for the first time since 1970. Is this their time?
He's excited and so am I well, be.